welcome to Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 217. I'm Dario. I'm here with Christ, and we're gonna
Christ,
talk about some
Ian.
BS. Yeah, Christ Ian.
Such a
Some
stupid
BS.
name.
I love it actually. I love it. I mean, why who else could boldly take the first name of Christ?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, why not? Christ is cool because it's a last name, right?
Hey, you know what? Before we start, I know you don't give a shit. We've had this discussion numerous times, typically while we're recording. But I think I owe you an apology for last week. I don't know. I can't know.
What?
I don't know if I blame the coffee or blame my just the energy from watching Shocker and Deadly Friend. But I couldn't stop fucking talking. And I feel like I railroad you and
Really?
I cut you I cut you off. Sometimes it's legit and um it's a slowdown in the system where we're lagging a bit and you start talking and I'm already going a mile a minute. I'm like, oh shit. And sometimes I don't stop. And sometimes I just am in agreement or disagreement with what you say and I pipe in. And sometimes I don't leave enough time for you to say what you said. Now, you didn't get offended or anything, but when I was editing the show, I got offended for you in the sense of like, I'm like, man, I'm such a dick. So I apologize, Dave. I don't even mean to do it. I guess it's just the passion when we hit record and we go. That I
Oh,
feel like I
shoot.
cut you off a ton.
I really see. Well, I mean, thank you. I didn't even. I don't think an apology is necessary because I don't even recall it happening. So
Well, to the
I don't
listeners, that
know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I maybe I'm so used to it because I do it with everybody else at this point. Because everybody's, I don't know, or maybe because I feel I talk so much that I'm just happy that when we're doing the podcast that it's dialogue going back and forth so much, which is why we can pull this off as a 2-man after being a 3-man. Is that
man,
there's never any like silence. We're going. You're talking, I'm talking.
maybe
You
I'm
know what I mean?
compensating because I feel like,
Right.
yeah, without that third voice, we have to go a mile a minute. But you've said this before. You said, "Oh, you don't care. You're just happy that people are enthused," and it is. It's coming from a good place. But when I listen
Yeah.
back, I'm like, like sitting there going, "Oh man, like shut up, Christian. Let Dave fucking get a word in edgewise." Vince has been complaining
Well,
about this for years, but that's again, it's the excitement of being in the same room, and we haven't
right.
recorded. That's probably why we haven't recorded in a few years. He hasn't said anything, but that's probably the reason. Uh, but anyway, I felt bad, so I just wanted to say it again
Oh,
because my
well.
God,
Well, that's really nice of you. I think I do it too, though. I think I do it all the time. When I listen back, I don't like hearing myself when I all of a sudden, like I was listening to, like I'm way behind on podcasts. And I was listening to one yesterday that I was on, and I was just like, man, you're talking so much. Or sometimes I see it at the end, but when I'm passionate about something, I just
that's it.
go and it's like I don't know if people want me to do this or not. Like on Jay of the Dead's, we've been talking about the Saw franchise, and you know how I feel about the franchise, the ones that I'm into especially. So we're going through all of them, and this is first time watches for a couple of the guys. That's why we're doing it. So we're talking this and that and the other thing, and I start going off about Saw and saying, well, this happened and this led to this and did today. And if somebody questions something, I go off and I go off and I go off and I explain and I'll talk for like 2 straight minutes. And then when I'm done, the response is good, but I still feel like, man, you really went on and on and on. But you never know. Are you talking too
Well,
much and wasting time, or are you talking a lot, but you're actually, saying something that people want to hear or something that's going to make sense for, what the conversation that you're having? Is it getting it anywhere? Like,
when
you
you
know,
talk, I find it does. Sometimes when I do, I think it's just all these thoughts are flowing through my head, and just a combination of wanting to keep it fast paced, wanting to keep dialogue going, and whatnot. I just keep running off on it, and sometimes I mean, we've all run into this where we don't necessarily think we're articulating our point correctly, and then I'll circle around it, or just be repetitive. And it's like a skipped record, just boom, 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 boom. I'm saying the same thing, just 3 times, slightly differently. But that
well,
is the show. That's why
well,
you're either going to listen or you're not going to listen. And you know what? We've got a lot more positivity. Like we talk on the show, we do talk a lot about negativity or things that are happening in the community that seems negative, and it's not it happens within the community, but I think it's more social media with a broad stroke. Negativity is just more predominant in social media as a
Yeah,
whole.
it's
Um,
sad.
but when we actually like drill down to like people that listen to the show, there's been a few negative comments towards it, but most times people have kept their mouths shut, or we've asked for it if they're like in that sense of whether it be good or bad, and typically the bad. Like I always go right back to that the VHS stuff, which then
Hmm.
got us two negative reviews, and then our Purge review,
Well,
which for whatever reason was the last straw for that one listener, and they left. But typically, people don't. There's not way less naysayers, which is why you get the corny jokes and everything ad nauseum. Because hey, if you're not going to say you don't like them, we're going to keep throwing them
eh,
out at you. Boom, 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 boom. That's why you get
you're
the
right.
shocker joke that you got last episode, and you're going to keep
Well,
getting them.
of course, and you knew you were going to get one with a title like Shocker anyway. So, I mean, it's
But
this
you know,
is the
to
thing.
answer the question, other than cutting you off again to answer the question,
No, I
no,
don't
when
even
you
know.
do it, I find that unless I've said something, like we make a joke about it on the show, it's
Hmm.
typically I get what you're saying, and it's been fine. The only time that there's ever been
Well,
a funny comment is like when I think when we really came down on you hard was when you got lucky the first time and you told that story, and
guess
Brendan and
what?
I just went, oh no, what?
Well, today's date as we record is Sunday, September 10th. Lucky's day is September 14th. It's coming up.
Oh,
9/14.
see, I
Yeah,
knew
it's coming
it
up.
was in there
Yeah.
somewhere. Lucky's day,
Yep. He's
Lucky's
coming up, that
lucky
little
day.
baby. Yeah.
Oh,
That little baby. He's like a kitten still. It's so funny. It's so the whole thing about Lucky is just so crazy just because he could finally do some things that the other cat can do. The other cats can do. He did something the other day about 2 weeks ago for the first time, and now he's doing it it took him 5 years to figure out how to go from the floor to the garbage can in the kitchen to the countertop. He's never been able to do it.
I thought you said this
Never.
before. Was it just been? I thought this happened a little while back, like maybe a month or so ago. But something happened that
Oh,
you said it was like a first for him as well.
that
And
must have been it then.
but it was,
That I
but it,
probably
but
forgot.
that's crazy though. Like that, like
Yeah.
was it just comfort level? Because you said he's deaf,
Well, that's
correct?
the thing. Him
Yeah.
being
So
deaf, with cats and their ears are like amazing. Ears and whiskers are the most important thing for cats to maneuver. That's what they're for. Whiskers are for, where they can fit and stuff like that, and everything
I
that
had
has to
no
do with
clue about
jumping.
that.
Yeah, everything that has to do with jumping and positioning, how fast you're going to take off, how quickly and how much strength and where you want to land and everything else. It's all auditory. It's an equilibrium thing. You need to have that to figure out. Yes, it comes naturally for a cat, but still, this cat can't hear, so it has that disadvantage where he's never been able to jump up on those things. And the first time he got up there, finally he got up there, like last month, I guess now, uh, coming down is a problem. He looks and he looks and he looks and he scales it and he weighs it out and then he'll jump. I noticed that now he's getting up quicker and he's getting down quicker. But everything is auditory with cats. They're pretty amazing
Well,
creatures, man.
auditory for
I've,
equilibrium for
yeah,
humans too, but the whiskers I had no clue
sure.
about. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
the
realize
whiskers
that.
are designed so they could decide where as long as they're not overfed and they get fat, which is actually a big problem in North America, is that too many cats
In
are
this
obese.
household. Yeah.
But the thing is, if they're built naturally the way they're supposed to be, if their whiskers go a certain length, it shows them what they can fit into and what they can't fit into so they don't get hurt. So they're really smart about that. And it's just like
It's just like
some
me
are
and vagina. I'm sorry. I had to go that route. I can't fit,
that's awesome.
which has never been an issue.
Can't fit. It hasn't been an issue in years, long time. But I remember being a kid, with not a kid, but a teenager.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you're a virgin with a virgin, you got problems. You gotta make it fit somehow. It's a whole different story. But anyway, to get off
Got
of
a
that.
shoehorn here, honey, or something.
Yep.
Remember that?
I know, right? Right.
Delirious.
Yeah, what is that? Eddie Murphy?
Eddie
Yeah,
Murphy
word.
delirious.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Shoehorn. Oh, that's brilliant comedy writing. You have a
Well, isn't it? Yeah, it's great. So the thing about the cats is what they do. Like Ginny yesterday made a Ginny is absolutely the most athletic, the fastest, everything. She does things that none of the other cats do. She'll go on top of the fridge. She'll jump from here to there. She'll make attempts at jumps that no other cat in the house would even think to do. And she did one yesterday. I couldn't believe it. Like it took, like I said, it takes the other cats going on the garbage can and then as the middle off the kitchen floor and then on top of that kitchen counter. Ginny can just jump from the floor right to the kitchen counter without using the garbage can. And yesterday she took off and flew. And I'm telling you, I'm saying she flew. She took off like the distance between, okay, here's me sitting here. Let's say that jack-o'-lantern back there is the table. She was on the here. She leapt off the ground here, way the fuck up. I've never seen her leap that far. It was crazy. And she has to time everything perfect. And if there's something on the counter, even like a small counter I have in my kitchen, if there's something on it, she can fucking do things where she jumps up and she has this much room to navigate in two small paws and they'll land in the exact place. It's truly fascinating, these animals and what they can do. Like cats in particular, and her, it's pretty amazing. And here's what's real funny about Ginny. She doesn't like wet at all. She cannot have any water, nothing. Hates
Yeah, I
fucking
don't
the
think a
feel
lot
of
of
water
cats
on
do,
her.
right?
Right, but her,
Yeah.
like she is very extremely fucking, like the other ones, they'll drink water in the bathtub if you turn it on. And they'll even go on the bottom and they'll do things. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but they don't. They tried to give Ginny a bath once when she was a kitten. And the second they put her in there, she screamed and she shit right in the fucking and went nuts about it. Oreo was able to get a bath. He wasn't happy about it, but he didn't flip the fuck out. Ginny flipped out so bad that Oreo ran from upstairs because he heard her crying and he started crying for her. He knew something bad was going on. She cannot handle water at all. So now she
I
runs in
hate
the
baths too.
backyard.
I
The
didn't realize
weather's
that
like
shit in the tub was the remedy.
that's your answer. Someone tries to put you in the tub,
Yeah.
take a fucking shit in there.
Yeah.
They'll
No.
pull you out.
Yeah.
So this cat,
Oh.
she gets out the other day and it's early morning and I know there's morning dew. So she gets out and she sprints out. And because she's in the morning dew, but she doesn't want to leave because she enjoys being outside so much. So listen to what she does. She fucking she runs, realizes it's wet, gets to a spot and says, fuck this, and continues to go to the next door neighbor's house in their backyard. But here's how she did it. Instead of running and keeping her feet on the ground, she stopped and she jumped like a fucking bunny. She jumped like fucking 10 feet. And then she did it 3 times. Boom, 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 because she didn't want to touch the grass with her feet. So she opted to jump. That cat's crazy, man.
You know,
Anyway, that's cat
as
talk.
as you talk about it, I'm glad you said this is cat talk because as you talk about it, I'm picturing Chris, aka Scott's
Yeah.
face as he's listening to this part of the thing, and again,
Well,
pure enjoyment because I know he's just like he's probably going, "What the fuck is with this cat talk?" Rip up the
well,
Fangorias right away. Let's follow it up with the Fangoria section.
immediately, immediately, yeah. Well, see, I put up with the most shit though. Even though you just said that you talk over and blah 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 and this and that, the listeners are always razzing me about fucking something I've talked about or not. They never really mess with you. But see, that's the Dave Z way.
Maybe they do.
People love fucking with me. They just
Yeah.
do. I can act just as polite and fucking present things the perfect way, even if it's an intelligent discussion. And I say this online, people fucking overreact to me, and I don't know why. And it's always been this way. I'm to the point now. I'm so depressed about fucking the way things are happening online now. And like I just see it all the time. Like even like it's the group pages, but it's just like somebody says
Yeah.
something, they love something, and somebody else has to weigh and oh, it's a piece of shit or the movie sucked or something. I hate
Yeah.
everybody just cannot wait to spew negative stuff on everything. It's such a
Out
weird.
of, out of
Isn't it
curiosity,
odd that humans are
it,
like this?
no, it doesn't surprise me. But out of
Why
curiosity,
though?
what film spawned Scream?
Oh man.
I'm sorry.
Well, you see, and where were
I
you? I
can't.
was waiting for you to come in because I didn't
This
do
is where I
nothing
am.
wrong.
I'm
It's the
nowhere
truth.
because I can't do it because I'm the same as you. I ra- I don't I don't even want to put my. This is where I put my thoughts now. This show, and our core listeners and whatever, because
You're right.
that
You're right.
it seems that we may not always agree, and that's not the point to always agree. But I'm saying it just seems like this is the realm I want to be in. Like
Yeah,
I
man.
don't want to venture out. And again, people annoy me and piss me off, and you're living that life. I'm living the life you keep saying you want to live. I'm on social media, but I'm not really active, other than within maybe the pages of Exploding Heads, uh, and 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 that's it. Like I've tried not to. It's not. I'm not trying to go out of my way to do it, but I distance myself. And every now and then I'll like something or chime in, but very infrequently. I read that particular post that I'm joking about. I can't make heads or tails about it because at one point they're praising the film, and then another sentence they're saying we're giving too much credit, or you're giving too much credit, or whoever society is giving too much credit to Friday the 13th for what it is. But at the end of the day, yeah, Friday the 13th, Halloween laid the gravel, was the blueprint, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you want to say, even though that there's movies before it that
Right.
it was influential, just like everything
Elevated.
in
Yeah.
art and whatever. Halloween did it. Friday the 13th ripped it off. And although there's other movies happening at the same time, Friday the 13th can kind of be seen as that one that sort of pushed it and said, well, if they ripped off Halloween and made a bunch of money, we can rip off Halloween and or Friday the 13th and make a bunch of money. And that's
Right.
what led to 81 and 82 and 83 and beyond. Yes, there were slashers in 80, but look at the difference between 80 and 81. And
Sure.
most of that is
Huge.
because of the success of not of Halloween, of course, but at that point,
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, the ripoff is what they were looking at because that's what they were going to emulate, the ripoff.
Yeah.
And so that was what pushed the slasher craze forward.
That's exactly it. And it
And
made
that's your
40
point.
million. That's all I was saying is it made all this money. If a movie doesn't do that, and here's the thing, what else came out in 80 that made a bunch of money? Maybe well, okay, 81, Halloween 2, I could imagine made a
Like
lot of money, but
horror wise, you
the
mean?
argument was that what do you
Yeah.
call it was filmed like a month before prom night, so there was going to be follow-ups anyway. But my point was prom night isn't your typical slasher. It's cashing in on the Jamie Lee Curtis thing and having a, you know what
It
I'm
was
saying? How
Halloween meets
prom night,
Carrie. They mashed the two together. They got Jamie Lee back. They were ripping it off as well. It was a moderate success. I mean, yeah, it spawned series as well, but it wasn't the Friday the 13th success that we
here's what
had.
it
But yeah,
made.
of course, there was things that were being made in 79 that were released in 80. We've talked about it, like To All
Everything
Good
was.
Night. To All Good Night. Maniac was
Sure.
happening at that particular point in time, which
They were trying it, yes. But would it have kicked off if to all of good night did come out before Friday the
yeah,
13th? Let's just hypothetically say prom night would have come out before Friday. Do you think it would have beaten The Shining in 1980 and brought in 40 million? It only brought in 15 million, and that was only because they brought in Jamie Lee Curtis. They couldn't even get distribution until they got freaking Jamie Lee Curtis involved. So,
yeah.
so I
And the
mean,
success of Friday probably
of
help
course,
get that out, right?
right?
Because I
Because
remember
it
that there
followed.
was they were having issues getting that sort of distributed, if I remember correctly, from whether it be the special features on prom night or just slasher films in general. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I agree, and I said it a couple shows ago that rewatching Happy Birthday to Me, which was 81, is really what Scream was kind of emulating. It was emulating the slasher movie, and it was giving praise and it was pointing the finger from a script standpoint to Halloween and Prom Night, but ultimately all slashers. As we know, as the series went on,
Well, of
part
course.
two is like Friday the 13th. Like there's references to slashers throughout. That's just the meta format of those movies. But I would actually say that although Halloween plays in that movie and they talk about Jamie Lee Curtis and point to prom night, really, Happy Birthday to Me is really what they were ripping off the most out of all of them. But again, we're circling around it. That all's
Yeah.
because of Friday the 13th success.
Yes,
And
and it's
even other
not being a
movies.
fanboy.
No, I don't think so.
It's not because I happen to
Yeah,
love Friday. Even if I didn't, let's say my favorite. I don't. It's so easy to say that. Well, he's just saying this because he loves Friday the 13th franchise, and it just so happens to be. That's not the reason why. All I was saying was that Scream is around because of the slasher boom. If there's no slasher boom, there's no Scream, and I think that's common sense. But the argument from the other side was, well, if Friday the 13th didn't do it, another movie would have come out and caused the slasher boom.
that's like
And
saying
that's the issue.
Led Zeppelin wouldn't have been like if Led Zeppelin didn't come out or Black Sabbath, we wouldn't have had metal. Of course, there would have probably been heavier bands and an evolution of some sorts, but you can't deny the impact that Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin had on all these other bands that came out thereafter. And whatever. You could talk to your blue in the face. You can't rewrite history as much as we're trying nowadays. Uh, Friday the 13th was a success. It was there to rip off Halloween, which
Smash.
was a success. And
Yeah.
so a ton of movies were trying to emulate it. And they were probably at that point going for the Friday the 13th. They didn't care which one they were emulating. They just said, this is now proven to be
This is hot.
um, hot and easy to make and
Yeah.
doesn't cost a
Easy to
lot of
make.
money. And everybody and their fucking mother were making them.
But like, did any other slashers make big money? See, I should have looked at that. But what am I going to do? I did as much
They're modern
background stuff. I
successors,
checked.
right?
I quoted some things. I said this and yeah, but I didn't get it. And then I got to
Nightmare on
the
Elm
point. I
Street,
don't
of
want.
course, but Nightmare on
Well,
Elm Street
4 years
was
later. Yeah.
exactly.
I'm talking about a slasher boom. Again, do you have a Nightmare on Elm Street without the slasher boom? I don't know. But still, I'm just saying Friday comes
No,
out.
yeah.
Everything that follows in that year, right? All those other freaking movies. And there isn't, you know, a whole hell of a lot, honestly.
Well,
That year, it's freaking what comes out in 80.
well,
Like,
while you're looking at that, I just want to
this is
give
it.
context.
Also,
This is all in response to just an innocent post that was made, talking about like what movie would you get rid of on this,
great,
one of
great
those
movies.
meetings. And all the movies
Yeah.
are great. It was a really difficult one to choose from. And Friday
Yes.
the 13th happened to be on that. And although it seemed like most people loved that one, they chose a different movie. Dave, of course, chose Friday the 13th, but then it spawned a conversation of without, this, you don't get that and whatever, because you're erasing the movie from existence. And so the argument ended up, and maybe I'm paraphrasing too much, but that, well, without Friday, you wouldn't have had Scream. And uh,
Yeah,
I,
basically, I said I
yeah,
select Friday, and I said because without Friday, you don't have the slasher boom,
exactly.
including
To
Scream.
lead the Scream, yes.
Right, because they're Scream fans. Well, so I figured it would be an appreciative thing. Oh, but that's another story. They want to credit something, and that's fine. That is completely fine. I just didn't expect. Maybe I just shouldn't have said that, and that's what happened. You just don't say it, but it's like I was just telling
Well,
what I thought was a fact. Like I thought everybody
you
like
sh-
that was into slashers just kind of knew that. Like it's almost like saying, "Well, what kicked off the '90s slasher boom?" Well, it was fucking Scream. Everybody knows it. You know
yeah,
what I mean? It's just it's common sense. I thought that it's common sense that Friday kicked off the slasher boom because even if you look
you
at '80, you know what
I
else comes
figure
out that year?
most hardcore fans would say yes. I'd say more general fans. If I ask my wife, there's a 50-50 chance she'll say Halloween or Friday the 13th.
Right, of
Being a more of a
course.
like a passive
Yes.
just movie fan in general, and whatnot. So I'd say that more mainstream might actually point the needle towards for Halloween, possibly more because of the resurgence of Halloween in the last few years and having the whole new trilogy that's come out. So it's been more in the spotlight. But as soon as Friday comes back in the spotlight again, if it ever does, then we'll Halloween will be dethroned once again.
Well, what can you do? I just don't think that anything happened in '80 that was like Friday. But then you see it all in '81. Because remember, Friday comes out in May of 1980. Okay.
Yeah.
Before that, you had To All a Good Night. Nobody saw it. Okay. Prom Night comes out in July. Funeral Home comes out in August. He Knows You're Alone comes out in August. Terror Train comes out in October. Of all those movies, the only one that resembles a Friday the 13th, even a little bit, would be Terror Train. The other ones are more like Halloween, but none of them are a smash success. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know what Prom Night makes and what Terror Train and the other ones. I know You're Alone and Funeral Home. Come on, they're not making any money. So what I'm saying, and then you go 81. There's so many, and these are more like Friday the
Well,
13th
there's
movies
so
in
many
81.
because of your argument, which is at that point, Friday the 13th made a shit ton of money. And they saw that other movies were being released and they wanted to jump
Right.
on the bandwagon. Whether or not you can, Harvey Weinstein said, well, we had this idea well before. Yeah, okay, I've had tons of ideas well
Anyone can say
before.
that.
Yeah, I've said it on the show. There's been a ton of ideas where I'm like, I've had that idea. Well, then fucking write the fucking thing down, get it out, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an idea. It means fucking nothing. Anybody can say that. But your movie came out
Right.
a week or two, a week before, a week after Friday the 13th Part 2. It's funny how many in 1981 had campfire sequences like that, had told a story around it. That's even more impressive when they all were actually coming out at the same time frame, so they couldn't even be ripping each other off at that point. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. But I know we're in agreement. We're in agreement. I'm not taking anything away from Halloween. Halloween was obviously very influential.
Oh my God.
That's we know this. We know
I
this.
prefer it to fucking anything else that came out in the 80s.
But what caused the
So-
sort of whether you like it or don't like it aspect of early 80s horror because of the slasher boom, I think you got to give credit to Friday the 13th. I think we've always said that that's the reason as to why. And it's not to
JP knows.
discredit. Well, even fucking Halloween 2.
You know.
Like, what is Halloween 2 more like? Halloween or Friday the 13th?
Halloween's like fucking Friday. We know this. They changed up their formula. Right, of course. JP knew it too. He came in and said the same thing because I thought this was common knowledge. Because if you ask, and then I said something, if you look at a slasher historian, they're going to tell you this is what it is. Just an unbiased person. I've seen interviews, I've read. You see it all over the place.
The
But nobody
weirdest
wants
part is that she says she loves Friday. It was between Friday the 13th and another movie. And she's like, it's so difficult. I love this, but I have to go with the other movie. Fine, that's your opinion. That no one's discrediting that.
Well, it
But
isn't the love, it's the influence that was the
Yeah.
problem.
Well, then yeah, I guess that was it. Then
They wanted
but-
to just simply say that it's Halloween that influenced Scream, and I get why, because Williamson, it's his favorite movie, and he based it on Halloween and everything else, and I 100% get that. But let's say Halloween happened and then nothing happened except a couple sprinkle knockoffs like Prom Night and a couple other He Knows You're Alone. And then there's not really a slasher boom. Can you make a movie in 96 that's talking about all these tropes? These tropes really didn't occur.
No, exactly.
Until the 80s.
Without the slasher boom. And if it was making it more like Halloween, it would have been more like some of the more generic ones or some of the washed down ones, instead of having a boyfriend gutted at the beginning and then Drew Barrymore hanging by a tree and her intestines dripping down to the floor and whatever. It was super gory by any stretch of the imagination, but it was definitely more slasher than Halloween. And that's a sign of the times, kind of. But remember, the 90s, for the most part, again, talking generalizations here, was watered down. Like,
oh yeah,
foreign horror, you could give credit to an occasional American Canadian film, maybe got some bloodshed out there, but it was definitely watered down, and it felt like you didn't get into a lot more bloodshed till the latter part of the 90s into the
they were censored.
2000. Yeah, it was like heavy censorship. It's almost like sanitized 80s. Like 80s, you felt the censorship, but you got enough movies with enough of the wet stuff, if you will, to satisfy gorehounds. And then at the 90s, it was like, we got to get this out. We got to clean this up. It's like sanitized horror for the most part. Again, a couple generalizing, because we all know there's movies like Peter Jackson had Dead Alive came out in the 90s and whatever. These are all these ones that like little exceptions to the rule that I think helped. And then you put video games in the mix that helped, and then TV ramping it up to kind of compete helped turn what we ended up the 2000s and allowing it pretty much a flick of the switch, and then suddenly gore was popular and okay.
Yeah, as soon as the censors let up, that's all we needed. Why did that happen?
Jack Valente was gone, and I think it just getting rid of his legacy. He was the MPAA head for a good chunk
Right.
of time there. But again, there's everybody's going to have their own different opinions, but I feel like that, yeah, you're kind of rewriting history to not give the nod to Friday for the slasher craze.
Yeah.
Halloween is a great movie that
Oh
again
yeah.
set the blueprint, but Friday the 13th, like as I've always said, Friday the 13th to me is a better slasher movie. Why it was always number one
You know
on my
why?
slasher list.
It's a better slasher movie to you because when you think of a slasher, you just don't think of that in two movies. You think of everything that came in the 80s, and a lot of stuff that came in the 80s in the boom were emulating Friday, not so much emulating Halloween. So in your mind, that makes
Of
perfect
course.
sense. And that's what I was saying. This is the difference. There's a buildup. When Friday comes out, they're the first to use heavy POV. And I mean heavy. In Halloween and in Black Christmas, they use a little POV in the opening
The
shots
opening
and stuff.
shot, of
A
course.
little.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Friday was the first one to use it for like almost that for something that led to every kill. You always see the freaking POV. So they take the killer's POV, they use that extreme. Savini and the gore, great, excellent. They added the gore to it. The mystery stuff, like a jolly, you know what I mean? Halloween, there was no mystery. Michael escapes, the doctor's talking about it. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
know who it is. We didn't have the mystery killer, and we didn't have the reveal. So when you look at all these other movies in the 80s that came after Friday, not all of them, some still try to do the Halloween thing because
Oh
it was
yeah, of course.
cheaper. They
Like
didn't have to do the gore.
final exam or
Right.
whatever.
Other one, yeah.
Yeah.
He knows you're alone. Things like that. So it's like they did that. They didn't necessarily have that formula. But Friday took all those things and put it into place. Also, the soundtrack, because of what Carpenter did with Halloween, they were smart enough to say, okay, our killer needs a stinger,
Which Scream doesn't have, as we talked about in our franchise show. The one
True.
major, like, if there's a checkbox, that's the one
Yeah.
thing they didn't check off. Yeah, you've got Sydney's theme, Dewey's theme. I get that, but you don't have a
They're okay.
theme, a horrific theme like you do with Halloween or Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's carried through and you can use that for the credit sequence or whatever it may be.
It's probably passe at the time. That's just the time it was, too.
Yeah. Well,
Seems like they've come back. Now we're
yeah.
getting scores again and a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like, I think maybe at that time it was considered passe, and they're trying to reel in the teen crowd. And so what they're doing is they're using rock and roll. They're using like modern music at the time. They're almost doing like a 90210 thing, which always was part of the show's intrigue for some people, is that some of the songs they were playing in between scenes and whatnot. It was just hot at the time. So I think I can't blame them for that. See, I'll give Scream the props for what it did there too, as well. And I'm not trying to, that's just
And
it.
I
I
like
love
Scream,
Scream.
and I like
I love
Scream.
it.
Well,
I don't want to erase it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to,
same.
I'm not knocking Scream. I'm just simply saying,
Be realistic, reasonable.
well, yeah, I mean, you don't have this without this. We don't have Halloween. We don't have Friday without Torso and Black Christmas and Halloween. We don't have it. There's a thing that it builds, things build up. It's just, see, and if I want to say common sense, but apparently it's not. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant. I'm not arrogant about it. I just think that I'm educated a little bit enough to, you know what I want to do? I want to look at my Fangorias when they came out. I'll get back to that because right now Friday came out where I'm at and everything, and it's just like, no, I want to see when we start going into the next year what they're saying in Fangoria, the movie makers and everything else, and the press and what they're writing and saying, well, because of Friday the 13th success, we're going to see this, this, and this, and that's proof in the pudding. That's the time period of filmmakers and critics in 1980 and 1981. If I go back and look at that and say that, well, there's the proof. But I don't have to.
Well,
I bowed out. It got to the point I'm like, well, I'm not gonna. And this is a smart thing to do. It took me too long to do it, but I was like, well, you get to the point you're like, well, I'm just gonna say let's agree to disagree. I'm not gonna change your mind and everything else. So it's okay. You know what I mean? And that's it. Now I know people are thinking it's funny because I know people want to crack jokes and stuff, but That's okay. I saw something today in a freaking in another video, and somebody made a snarky comment about, are there going to be any horror historians on the show? Just because I said something else. So now I look like the butt of a joke for
Oh,
saying
what show was
something.
that?
Well, what happened was they were doing a drawing for Cut to the Chase for who's going to
Okay.
do what for the Halloween thing. You know how they do the thing for Halloween and for Christmas with the guest hosts and whatnot. And they do the drawing online, a live show, and things are going on. And I didn't watch the video, but I was reading the what do you call it, the comments in the threads because it was up in the page. So let's see what's going on. So I did it, and then I see fucking Merriman ask that as a question. Hey, he goes, is there going to be any horror historians on the show?
Yeah.
So either he's poking fun at me because he saw it the first time, or there's another chat somewhere else and they're fucking talking shit about me, making a
He
a
he
joke out of me. I mean,
well,
so be it. I'm not
look,
hurt. Huh?
it's that's why I don't you ask, where are you? That's the reason I'm nowhere to be found, because I just
You're
can't
right.
deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. It's not even conversation anymore. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, what's the end goal of this? I mean, again, if it's not common knowledge, if you don't think it's common knowledge, I don't know what to tell them. Now, having said that, back in the day when it was happening, I have like reviews that I remember reading and that I think are right beside me here that say like, oh, here we are with Halloween Clone 101 or whatever. So at the time, maybe it was still thought of being Halloween, but as that slasher craze, I think, moved on and that became history, that I think then people realized, well, no, Halloween was the start of it. Friday the 13th admitted to ripping it off, but we got these ones because of Friday the 13th. And that's why everybody was going out on the weekend filming a movie and
Right.
for a tax write off and whatever. But yeah, I
And the thing
definitely
is,
remember reading Halloween Clone 101
well, yeah,
in one of these
because
books, like the Gore Score or whatever it may
sure.
be.
And
Um,
I
at
agree
the
with
time.
this to a degree because this is going to sound bad, but it's not a bad thing. This is just saying that a Halloween clone is easier to make than a Friday clone because you have to have a Savini to have a Friday clone. You have to have those over the top kills or the gore or something. Where Halloween isn't necessarily that way. So it's easier to have, okay, we have an escaped mental patient and we have 3 kids and what have you, and we're going to have some stalking and some cool shots and whatnot. But
Look at that.
Friday, different.
Second page I turned to. I flipped it and I looked at it. Sorority House Massacre. Wait, what am I?
Oh,
Who am I even kidding here? I,
I saw
I saw,
something.
yeah, no, but I'm talking Sorority House Massacre. Half a skull out of 4, if you remember. 4 splatter rating. Filmed by opportunist peckerheads who apparently weren't aware of the other 200 Halloween clones already in existence. And it's funny because that particular one, agreed. That's another one, like Final Exam. Sorority House Massacre is definitely more of a Halloween clone. It's like Halloween meets Nightmare on Elm Street. It's the most bizarre, like, kind of setup. Do you remember Sorority House Massacre?
I saw it. I saw it. Year of the Slasher 1. Will I watch it during
It,
2? Probably, yeah.
it's well, you're not going to watch it because it's a oh no, it's not a franchise.
No, there's only 2, isn't there?
There's only 2, possibly 3 if you count. There's that spin-off one that's kind of considered part 3, but again, there's no remake or anything
No
else. So
way.
yeah, it would be considered. I don't think it's making your list. What you'll find is it's better made than you're expecting it to be. Oh, here we go. Some
Nice.
nice use of color and whatnot, but it's a very bizarre. There's like a girl that was linked to this house, kind of like the Myers house. There's a escaped lunatic coming back home to that house. It's now a sorority house. And she happens to be a sorority student there that has these memories. And then, that's it. That's what I think you get a lot of that within the first, first, I was going to say first reel, but I meant the first act, excuse me. But ultimately, it's still not a well enough made movie because, like I said, it's just by the numbers at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But by the numbers can be okay if you feel like there's been enough, like 2 of the movies tonight, or the 2 movies we're going to be talking about tonight. There's still, I can't say they're doing anything new, but
Right.
did I enjoy watching them? Yeah, I enjoyed both of them tonight.
Fair enough. Good. Well, what it's
Which
all about.
again, I mean, you've seen like the clip art. If you haven't seen the clip art for the show, clip art sounds so again so pretentious. But ultimately, we are doing Madhouse and we are doing the Hills Run Red, because slashers won this round. So it's not just for Year of the Slasher 2, which happened to be sort of a happy coincidence that we were able to
Yeah,
watch two slashers for this episode.
we're
But
right around the corner. We're right around
more
the
to come
corner. I
later.
mean, we got to prepare. That's just it. It's going to take us a year to do this. Of course, the Year of the Slasher doesn't really happen until January when we have our whatever, the next year. So it's like we're pretty cool that way. We're lucky. We're just getting on and early. We're watching our movies early, and it appears that we're going to have an actual show. I think we have 2 people for sure signed on, probably the third. So it's probably going to be
Yeah.
the 5 of us, which would be wonderful. And the listeners could put theirs in anyway.
Yeah,
You
we've
know what
got
I mean?
we won't announce names in case they decide to bow out.
Right.
Here's looking at you, Carly. I'm kidding. She's already watching slashers, so I think
I
she's
know
in.
she is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
she's
love
in.
that. And I think she thinks she's gonna get the. I've already 40 in, Carly, 40 or 41 in. So with the ones that we watched this time. So
Wow, that
yeah,
many, huh? Look at this guy.
I showed not that Pearl's a slasher, but I showed Carrie because she'd never seen them. I showed Carrie X
Ooh,
and Pearl over the weekend.
and
Well, she loved both. Love both of them.
nice,
Yeah, I
nice.
actually not sure which one she appreciated more because I said, both of them for me it was Pearl was my number one, X was my number two last year, but like I don't know, like she liked both of them. I didn't know which one she preferred. I think she says she loves the character of Pearl so much that she feels like there could even be another one that you could pop in between Pearl and X easily because it's almost like
Yeah,
they could expand upon her sexual like frustrations and like love with Howard, and I think you could easily clean up the events of Pearl and lead into X. Even I'm not even talking about like 20 years, so you still have some time,
yep.
whatever it may be in between or whatever it might be. You start with an opening, lead into another one there. So I think suffice it to say, she's gonna be excited to go see Maxine with me
Oh yeah, man.
as well. So that's
Awesome.
yeah, that's
I
the
wish there was
plus.
more. I see. I've thought of that. I don't know if I've said it out loud, but I've thought the same thing about there could be another movie in between Pearl and X. Why not? Because it's what, a 20-year gap or longer than that. 20. She's an old woman in fucking. It's
Like
79 and
79 and it's in 1918.
1918.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You can,
So
like I said, you can lead up to clean up to kind of get them. They put them into the old psycho into the swamp. Fed the remains to the alligator and everything else. But then Howard comes home, and what? So we've got to get like there's almost got to be like a whether you show his buy-in or whether it takes place after that. He's just helping her, whatever, and then kind of
right.
setting the tone, but then expanding
Yeah.
upon their lives. So there's definitely room there, and you could play around with how he had the vibrant colors and whatnot, and playing around with that time frame, and then using the 70s and that you could definitely do something cool with the 40s or 50s there too, and
You know,
probably even the 50s or 60s with that almost like sitcom-y or that not sitcom but Brady Bunch
I
type
get you.
esque
Like Leave It to
look.
Beaver.
Yeah, or something exactly.
So, they really could. I wish they would. They totally could. I just don't think they will. And I think they're going to stop at 3. They're going to have it a trilogy. I just can't see um Ty West and Mia doing a 4th right away. Or I think that it just seems that they probably don't want to be committed to just be doing the same thing over and over and over
I
because
get it.
the
Oh
sky's
yeah.
the limit. I mean, Ty's already established. I mean, Mia is too, has been, but now she's more of a name out there because of the 2 movies in the last year and everything else. So, and she's so eclectic as an actress, and she does different things with different directors, cool directors, great ones, honestly, again and again. And I think that she's going to probably do more stuff outside. I'm not saying outside of horror, it'd still be genre, I bet, but outside of just, usually people tend to, when they're doing a trilogy, almost like what happened with Adam Green. He made the 3 Hatchet movies, and he was like, well, I want to do something else besides Hatchet. It's great. I'm having fun. I love them, but let's do something else. And then Romero kind of said something to him. Apparently, he said, do what's great, do what you love, and do freaking do another one. And that's why they decided to do Victor Crowley or something. So the story goes something like that. So I don't think they'll do it. I hope they do. That would be awesome. And again, you can do it because me will be older.
Yeah,
And Pearl can
exactly.
be older.
So
Yeah.
exactly. So even if it was 10,
Yeah.
20 years from now, that would actually be great with, in a
Could you
sense. I mean,
imagine?
maybe great is all relative to what we get, but I mean, I'm saying from an age standpoint, it could work perfectly if that's at the time frame that they want. I mean, you could do anything with makeup now. Like Carrie was so like, she's like, who plays this old lady when we're watching X? And I've like,
Uh,
of course, she's on her phone to try to find it out. I'm like, just enjoy the movie. She's like, no, I want to find out. I'm like, it's Mia, damn it. I wasn't going to tell you because I wanted you to experience the rest of the movie first, but I want you off your phone to enjoy
yeah.
it. So I'll give you all the
Right.
information instead.
Well, it's so
She
easy.
was
If you go to
shocked.
if you
Yeah.
go to the IMDb, it'll
Well,
say Mia
that's what she
Goth,
was.
Pearl/Maxine. It'll
Yeah, I
say
know,
right
but
in the
she didn't
freaking
want,
thing.
I didn't want her to look. That was
Right.
the
I
whole thing.
know.
I was like, don't, just enjoy the movie. But then, so she was all, yeah, she enjoyed both. I think X kind of, shocked because X again, it's one of those movies that my daughter, I think, would want to see. I'm like, watch that one by yourself again. Enjoy or watch it with now that you're in school, watch it with your roommates if they're into horror because that one's like Hostel, a little hard for a dad-daughter watch.
Oh, true.
X.
True. I feel you. See, I watched it with both of them.
Yeah.
Did I see X with Frankie? Hold on.
It's a
Let
double
me think
standard
about
of
this.
violence being a-okay to watch, but anything sexual, it's just kind of weird to watch with it.
I've gotten
Like,
better, but it is kind of weird. Right. But I have gotten a little, you know, a little more not as uptight about it, but I'm still not thrilled. But yeah,
it's,
Frankie, I know enjoys them both, but she definitely prefers Pearl because she's like, well, she goes, I just love Pearl too much. She loves the character, and I get that. She
oh,
identifies, and that's how I am. You
but
know
no,
what I mean? I love.
I did. Now I think I almost feel like they're on par with one another. It's hard for me to separate. They're two different
Wow.
movies, though. But I do love them both. And X is definitely a slasher. And again, this is where
Mm-hmm.
slashers take, just like Just Before Dawn. If the movie plays out like a slasher, but then maybe reveals itself to be something else like a backwoods movie or whatever, at the end of the day, it's still kind of a slasher. Whereas Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's a different type of movie. I
Right.
could see someone arguing that, well, of course it's a slasher. It's about a bunch of people, whatever. But it's not. It's a whole different subgenre. It's like that wrong turn subgenre. And even though
Right.
it can kind of blend with slasher, it's its own thing. Whereas Just Before Dawn, even though you kind of get the reveal that you do, well, I don't think you get the reveal. I think it's kind of set up that way. But I mean, the reality is it still plays out like a slasher movie. X
Mm-hmm.
still plays out like a slasher movie. It's slasher kills, slasher setups, and whatnot. It's funny, Maniac, as we were talking in text, I agree because he's kind of the main character. We're following him around. Is it a different look at a slasher where, although it's a diseased mind, it came out at the beginning of the slasher, boom, like it was 80, but
Yep.
it is a very gory slasher film. But I can see it not being included on the slasher list because it doesn't follow a traditional route. But when you read reviews, a lot of them just blend it right in with the slasher, whether it's the
Well,
time
you know
frame of when it
why?
came out.
Yeah, it's the
Savini,
time frame and Tom Savini. It makes
yeah,
perfect sense. And I thought the same thing until I started looking at it. I don't want to say critically, but I'm looking at
from a
them.
structure standpoint.
Thank you. And I'm just like, well, in a slasher, when is the freaking killer the main character? They're not. It never is that. A slasher is about, you know, people being picked off by the killer. You usually have a final girl. You usually have a cast of people that are going to get bumped off. And there's more character development with them, if anybody, than the killer. The killer, you know nothing about really. You might get some background from a Loomis or something, this or that, or some mythology talk. But the thing about Maniac is it's a character piece where he happens to be a
Yeah.
murderer, a slasher per se, but You know what I'm saying? It's
No,
just
I
like
get it because
Prevenge.
I don't want to keep. I didn't want to keep cut them out. I didn't want to cut them out. But the more you think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, it happened at that time frame. I would put it into the diseased mind category, like maybe under serial
Right.
killers as opposed to slashers, like American Psycho, different movie. I get it, but
Right.
like that style, Maniac remake, American Psycho. I'm not saying you can't make. It would be very interesting, as we said, like high tension, faults and all, whether you like it or not, still slasher. Even though the reveal tends to go against what we're arguing right here, but it's a
That's okay
reveal
though.
that does it.
Right. It's the
Whereas
reveal.
whereas this is like you're falling into disease mind, like don't go in the basement or don't go in the house. I keep saying don't go in the basement, don't go in the
Hmm?
house. Disease mind, possibly nightmare in the
In a damaged brain.
damaged
That thing.
brain. I
Yeah.
mean, it's right there in the
Not a
title of the
slasher.
extended. It slasher elements, very gushy kills, but
Yeah.
a diseased mind. So I again, if someone wants to put on the list, power to them. It would have both Maniac and Maniac remake would have been high on my list, but I actually think
Certainly.
I might be taking them out.
See, so you get what I'm
I,
saying? Because
I'm
look
going to
at
rewatch both of them again. I am going to rewatch both again for the show anyway, and to make a
right.
definitive case for it. But I'm leaning towards no, just like Pearl is not.
No, of
Pearl is
course
a
not.
character study of a diseased mind in a sense, whereas X is a slasher.
Hundred
There's,
percent.
and you can see it in the structure of the film.
Well, I'll give you two examples to back this up. Number one is Christmas Evil. Number two is Prevenge.
Yeah.
Okay. Christmas Evil comes out the same year as Maniac. The only difference between Christmas Evil, not the only difference, but when we're talking about the structure
That
and
one
the killer.
flies away in a sled at the end.
I love that so much. Oh God. Is that one of them does bloody slasher kills and the other really does not. So you're telling me that if if the killer in Christmas Evil used a knife and an axe instead of toys and what different things that he uses throughout, that becomes a slasher just because of the weapons? I think not. I think that it's a character piece. I think that it's about him and what he's
Well, it
doing.
is. Yeah,
No,
I
it's
agree.
no different in Maniac. I mean, and it does hurt to leave it off because it's such a great movie and everything else. And it's always been, and I didn't think about it till these past couple months. I was like, is this really a slasher or not? And I never really
Yeah.
thought to question it because it falls in with everything else. So that's a good comparison. Now, Prevenge. It's the same thing. In
Love
Prevenge,
that
it's
movie too. Yeah.
literally the story of this woman who's going out and she's killing people because of what the baby's telling her, and as he's inside. But are they slasher kills? Yes, some of them are, but it just doesn't. It doesn't feel slasher to me. I don't think that the killer can be the main character. I just don't.
It'd be
It's
interesting if one can do it and follow
oh
the uh, more of the traditional formula. But those ones are definitely more. Again, I feel like I'm torn. I got to watch them again because it's almost like they are doing that, and we're seeing it from their standpoint. Because if it was filmed, like maybe from a third person point of view, as opposed to like being more of them as the predominant character,
mhm.
maybe have a different opinion of them. But I'll watch them one more time, and I'll see. But I'm leaning towards taking Maniac off the list. Maniac remake, Christmas Evil. I mean, like you said,
Well,
people are
should I
blending
do
tons
this?
of shit together. People are pushing anything to fit into the realm, and the slasher subgenre then would be even bigger because you can fit like the Texas Chainsaws are in there, the Wrong Turns are in there. Like it becomes that they'd be disqualified because we're not doing franchises. But I'm just saying that you could put everything under this umbrella, which was, again, I know we've been talking about this and you're going to keep hearing us talk about this because it's a lead up, and we'll probably have to have a lead up show that maybe we'll call
Well,
out some of these ones that will that we're talking about now, and say, I still love them, but I don't know if they should be on the slasher list.
correct. No, and I said I was going to do it last show and I forgot, but I have my notes here. I don't know if you want me to read this. I wanted to talk about the Children of the Corns because I've watched like 3 or 4 more, but I
Oh,
also
more.
have.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh no, I'm doing okay with most of them, believe it or not. I have all my things for me personally. What qualifies to be a slasher? For me, based on everything I read and everything I've seen and things that I said last show that I was going to say how
Yeah.
I come up with what I can.
Well,
Do you want
let's
to hear
do it.
this? I
Yes.
don't want to bore you. Okay.
Too late. No,
So,
just
okay.
sorry.
Requirements. They're not exactly requirements because that's too, I don't need it to be, but preferred components. These are preferred components to make a slasher. Okay. A final girl, gory kill scenes, teenage victims, small town or isolated location setting, a revenge driven backstory for the killer. The killer is usually masked or facially disfigured, deformed. Sexually active characters die while a virginal character survives or dies last. Again, preferred components, not exactly requirements. A slasher has to be human or once was human.
So no
They
final
kill for the
destinations.
right.
Sorry.
I
I'll
mean,
interject. I apologize.
no,
Yeah.
please do, because that's what people are probably thinking.
Well, there
Um,
because that's considered a slashers franchise too, to some degree.
that's
Some
fine.
people
Let
do
them.
consider those. Exactly. I mean,
I understand. I understand
yeah.
what it is. I'm just you can't have everything a slasher, and this is how you weed them out. It's a kill for thrill, revenge, or just plain evil. Okay, that's what it is. And now here, this is the important thing about things that are
Kill for
starting
thrill.
to
There's a good title.
kill for thrill. You're right. Killers aren't inspired by drives that are easy for the audience to understand, such as greed, personal advancement, or to protect someone else. This is all to say slasher killers don't have realistically human motive. Okay? More than 2 body count, graphic or inventive kills, preferably with but not limited to sharp objects. Killings tend to happen over short periods, sometimes in secret. This is important. We rarely follow police or detective investigations in true slasher movies. Rarely.
Well, don't
Investigations is
open
a
till
word.
Christmas. Might it'll be that teeter totter. I mean, you've got the slasher kills, but there's I think a little bit more police investigation than you'd like.
Yeah, Jalo. I mean, so now, okay, from the other character standpoints, people are missing, not dead, at least until a possible discovery or reveal in the climax. I think that is happens most of the time. Okay, a human or humans stalking and slashing young people with one sharp object or disposing them in very creative ways. So those are components that make up a slasher. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is what disqualifies it. Not
Okay.
slasher.
All
Not
right.
slasher. Killings aren't inspired by drives that are easy for the audience. Oh, I already said that. Okay. Slasher. Okay, I've said that. Okay. Well, something from another world disqualifies it for me. If it's a creature or an alien or anything Lovecraftian, it won't fit my criteria.
Buy the prey. It's right there in the tagline.
It can't be summoned. It can't be summoned. When I watch a slasher, I know I'm watching a slasher. There's not a guesswork to it. Um, 2 or more killers disqualifies unless it's a reveal during the climax. The audience can't be aware during. When crime solving is a major part of the plot, that disqualifies it. So
So what
that's what
about
it
then
is. There's
X?
no
Like do you consider X because X kind of has the 2 of them, but you're kind of not sure of the and again, guys, spoilers here if you haven't seen these already. Uh that you like they're kind of alluded to like the husband Howard is alluded to being like possibly evil, and then it's her that ends up being the one doing the killing. And then you're wondering, I think, if the first time you watch it at least, that you're wondering if he's trying to protect that one girl by locking her in the basement. Then you realize, no, he's not. So is
right.
that considered a reveal then? So that's okay because there's two of them there. And just before dawn, like I said, I'm pretty sure they established that there's two at the beginning. I'm not too sure, but that definitely plays out like a slasher, no
Right.
question.
Yes.
So the two, I don't have a problem with two, but again, it's presentation for sure.
100%.
So
It's
reveal at the end is one thing, like Scream, even though they're disqualified because of franchise. But I think if the reveal can happen, um, it can happen whenever, or it can be a component whenever. I think there's, but yeah, if it's a lot of people, then it becomes Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something else, like You're Next, which gets bundled into this and whatever. So I know your agreement there, and two might even be too much, but we get into the strangers then. The Strangers Pray at Night, I consider a slasher, but it's multiple
I do too.
killers.
It is a slasher.
The
No,
Strangers though, is a home invasion. What about the
correct.
Collector?
I
The
gotta watch it
Collector,
again. I didn't. I think we
yeah,
talked about it the time we saw it.
we did, and it's like the Collector is almost like a home invasion, and then the Shin. It's kind of like a slasher, but it's so bad. I'll have to watch those again, just again to uh, to be definitive. But these are where there's those outliers, like that just kind of like, what? Where do these ones fit in?
Right. But I think I got a pretty decent,
For sure, and there's probably
qualification
more.
here.
I agree. You're
Well,
saying two or more, or not more than two, unless it's revealed, or not always one. What was? Sorry, just repeat that again. Make sure I didn't just go on a whole tirade and not understand what you're saying
so
about
what
the
did you want to
reveal,
say?
about how many killers.
Oh, okay, let's go back. How many killers? Two or more killers disqualifies it unless it's the reveal during the climax.
Uh,
The audience can't be aware during the movie that there's more than one killer.
yeah, that one's iffy for a couple of
Right.
them.
Yeah, but that's just how I see it. That's the way,
Okay.
basically slashers, the ones that have started them, the early ones, that's the way it was always for them. So it just, you can't have everything be a slasher. You have to be able to, otherwise we're watching 1,000 movies. Both times we're doing this.
Oh, I
Everything
know.
can't be
I
a
hear you.
slasher. I love slashers. You love slashers, but we can't just say because we want to that this is the slasher. We're trying to keep it true. Now there's going to be, you know, hopefully 5 hosts on this show. If this person wants to identify something as a slasher, it's like we always say, if you consider horror, put it on your year-end list. If you consider it a slasher, put it on your slasher list. There's nobody being uptight about it. I'm just saying
No,
this is what
exactly.
I'm doing.
That's just,
You want to
yeah. I
go along
mean,
for the ride, great. Then we're on the same page. But I
well, I
mean,
just didn't want to disqualify three that I think would definitely fit the slasher mold, which is Just Before Dawn, Strangers Pray at Night, and X.
well, yeah. Well, they
Uh,
all make sense to me,
yeah.
you know? So, um, and I have a bunch of stuff about, like movies that people consider slashers, like Psycho. Psycho's another one. It's concerned with the character and the personality of Norman Bates, Marion Crane, and Lila Crane. It's much more. It has sympathy for Norma. Um, it's a different type of movie. You won't find a genuine slasher movie with a 10-minute emotionally forthcoming parlor conversation between victim and killer. I can assure you of that.
Yeah. Whereas the
That
sequels, as in two and
ah
three, I would consider slasher.
yeah,
Yeah, more so because
true.
they add a whodunit element to it, and it's
Yep.
slasher presented kills. So two and three for sure. Four not so much. Four almost goes back to that character study, and as it tells a story. And
Hmm.
then the remake, of course, is the remake, so it's following the character study factor again.
Uh-huh. Then we have Peeping Tom. Some people want to say that's the first slasher. We never see the dead bodies afterwards, nor do we really see the killings themselves. And again we have a sympathetic guy like a Norman Bates in this one. Um, Blood Feast is more like a Giallo. Uh, Straight Jacket, 1964. There's no right motive. Kills are spaced out and police investigations. Blood and Black Lace. Protagonists all killers before the climax. No final girl, and the motivation is greed. Greed can't be the motivation. Michael and Jason and slashers. It's not about greed. It's not about financial gain. It's not about anything. And it's not because somebody else summoned you, despite what Halloween 6 tried to say. But that was already an established character. That's the one thing I could think of where, okay, he's being summoned by someone else. But it was just a shitty thing to do. And I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it because it's a slasher franchise, but we're not doing franchises, so it doesn't matter.
And you put Blood and Blacklist, which I've always considered a giallo, but a Bay of
Right.
Blood, a Bay of Blood is
I'm
the one
getting
that
there.
yeah. But you're saying Greed, I think, as well. So
100%.
yeah,
It's okay. First, before this movie called Fright in 71, some people dig into that one. And it's a babysitter and phone calls. There's no murders. It's more like stranger calls when a stranger calls in slashers. So that's that.
yeah,
Bay of
okay,
Blood. There's no real final girl. As in Blood or Black Lace, it ends up being a film about a bunch of self-destructive, greedy people without a true protagonist. The killings are also committed for financial gain and inheritance, which is just about the least valid slasher villain motivation there is. They're not going to care about money. They're not thinking straight. Money isn't even part of their world. You know what I mean? They're just killers. And no, Frenzy 72 is more like a British giallo. Home for the Holidays 72 comes close, but greed, motivation, untypical killings, and the end. And now Torso 73, and this is why I consider it the first slasher. It has all the little flourishes you expect in a genuine slasher. Killer's POV shots, extremely graphic killings, a secluded location, constant themes of voyeurism, a mass killer, an actual final girl. You do have a killer whose initial crimes are revealed to have been for logical reasons, but he develops a taste for murder and goes totally crazy killing for pleasure. This isn't a guy seeking a payoff or an inheritance. He feels more like a supernatural specter or silhouette, one that evokes the outline of both Jason and Michael. So, and then 74 Black Christmas, which we already said we did it last time. That's the first true slasher,
yeah.
North American, you know.
Thank
But
God there's not one more remake to disqualify that.
I know, right? I was even thinking we should be uptight and say any movie that had a remake should be fucking completely out of it, but that's okay. That might be too uptight. But then we'd really be digging deep. But I'm
Yeah,
having
because
fun.
then my Bloody Valentine would not be part of that, and that is, I'll tell. I mean, I'll shoot my load. That's going to be very high on my list, and anybody that's listened to our show previously should know that would be very high on our list, or at
Oh
least
yeah,
mine.
no, for sure. So there you go. That's what constitutes them for me. It doesn't have to be for everybody else, but I was playing around. I did this thing, like I said, for Jay of the Deads when I was talking about the introduction to 80s slashers, and I was going through all different stuff, and I was looking around, and different people have different, like, what do you call it? Descriptions for what a slasher is. So I just started going around and looking at everything and researching, and I came up with this. And I said, this is the for me, this makes the most sense for what qualifies it. So it's not 100%. Nothing is, but now I
I
got
have
to
a,
add that to it.
I,
When
I have
the
a
killer
feeling. Yeah,
is the
sorry, go.
character, no, I
Yeah,
got to add that to the list. When the killer is the main character, it disqualifies it.
until someone does it. Well, again, unless it's a reveal, which I think high tension. Whether you like it or not, besides the point. But that's a slasher to me.
Yeah, because the reveal shows you something different. So if you're on board for a slasher ride the whole time, and then they pull up the rug at the end, big deal. They do the same thing in April Fool's Day, and I'm considering that a slasher.
Well, see, this is the reason why. Because if we did, I was almost on board. And again, we may evolve this, guys, because we're so early and we haven't even
Right.
gotten there yet. Imagine we took out anything with a sequel, anything with a remake, anything. Then Terror Train is gone. Black Christmas is gone. My Bloody Valentine is gone. What a Stranger Calls. You just mentioned April Fool's Day, all gone. The Town of Dreaded Sundown gone. I think it would just be too hard. Stage Fright, are those even considered remakes? Because to me, they're not remakes. They're totally
No,
different movies.
two movies with the same
Yeah,
title.
with the same title. Yeah. So that might be a little too extreme.
Yes, it would be. I agree. That's too much. But no, but to see, the thing is, like me, what I have 161 movies on the watch list that I made. How many of them are we going to find? I don't know, because we're going with the foreigns and everything else, and there's a good amount there, so we're
Those
going to
damn
get them.
foreigns.
You know, but still, I'm gonna try to watch as much as I can. But you can only have so much. Think about this. I have 161 or whatever I said, and we've already excluded all those other ones that are more than 3. So
Well,
this is
I
cool to
know
have that kind of list.
if Slumber Party Massacre didn't have that damn remake, the first one would probably show up on my list now.
100%.
The
Well, it did last time for me.
Yeah, and I think I was just off for me, and
Uh-huh.
probably one I got like railed over for not having, but it would make it. There was another one that we were just talking about, but I mean, it's funny because it's there. There are like the first Silent Night, Deadly Night. Possibly the remake for some people, Silent Night. Those like that would be on the Silent Night, Deadly Night would be on my list. Can't be now.
Right.
We know
Right.
Prom Night, the first one would be on my list. Prom Night 4 would not be. Just shut the fuck up, everybody. But the prom night would be, no question, gone. Like we are losing a lot of like for me, big ones that would have been, and they
Yeah.
would have, a lot of those would have been a little higher up too.
Well,
The
we've already
first
done it.
Sleepaway Camp, for sure.
Sure, but we've already done that show.
Yeah, I
That's why
know.
this show has to be different. So now we can, if we ever want to show our slasher list to people or whatever, or put something and say, hey, this is part 1, year of the slasher. This is part 2, year of the slasher. This one, these were the qualifications. Everything except as long as it wasn't outside of North America counts. And then part 2, if you have more than 3 movies, it's a franchise, it's out, and we're accepting everything outside of North America.
Yeah, we're
That's
we're
it.
being as anal as it is that I Know What You Did Last Summer is gone because it's 3 movies and a
Yeah,
television show, which Carly wasn't happy about, but that's the reality
I
of it. I
know,
mean,
but I
it's
know
it's the reality. It's the reality.
that it is. It's the reality. All right. Yep. So sad but true. A TV show. When's it coming out?
It already came out.
Really?
Came
It
and went,
came and
man.
went already?
Oh yeah,
Come
we watched. I
on.
watched the first episode like a year and change ago, not
What?
possibly even 2 years ago. It was a whatever. I watched the first episode and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be on board with this.
It was supposed to be good for some reason. Someone's directing it or something or whatever. Or what the hell was the deal? 5.4 out of 10. Huh. How do you like that? I didn't know it came out. I guess it did come and go. Boy,
And
that's
I
too
just
bad.
posted that Blood and Blacklist is getting this beautiful Arrow edition.
Oh,
With the
yeah?
one with the lobby cards, the poster, the
Everything.
4K treatment, the whole 9 yards. It looks like a beautiful
Nice.
package. Damn them.
Nice. Right? Yeah, it's out of control and the
But you know
prices are
what?
sky high.
Their prices are a bit high too, but they're the closest. In fact, they're doing more than what a lot of the Laserdiscs used to do. The Laserdisc came in the big packages, and you get some good
Mm-hmm.
ones. The Criterion Edition. I've talked about Pulp Fiction. You get like all the extras, and then you get some booklet inside. And Platoon was the whole script bounded in. And there's some real nice packages back in the day. DVD came out, and it was just you knew it was going to take over because it was CD size, and it was just accessible, and it became like the new craze, and I could see why that became the craze. But what people didn't realize is that the quality was, although better than VHS, was not as good as Laserdisc. A lot of people didn't realize that. Um, from a visual standpoint, from an audio
Mm-hmm.
standpoint, it could match or surpass. Then Blu-ray came, and of course you couldn't argue was the best. And where I'm going with it is that 4K though, Blu-ray was doing it. They're coming out with those special editions that are good, and there's still some out there. And like that's bringing back kind of that magic that I found when I was buying Laserdiscs. But 4K
Mm-hmm.
is doing the best, and Arrow seems to be doing it better than anybody in my opinion.
Sure,
Occasionally you'll
man.
get Severin or Synapse that
Vinegar.
do it as well. Vinegar Syndrome. All of them are doing it. I'll say Scream Factory is the worst because all they're doing is repackaging
Oh.
So I'm not happy with
Everything.
Scream Factory, and
Me
so they
neither.
could keep releasing them. And if I didn't get them, I'll probably go buy it, the 4K version, especially if it has the Blu-ray in it, because I'm finding that the prices are not much different. It's funny
Right.
watching horror fans, like wait till they do sleep. I know that they're holding off on Sleepaway Camp for a reason, because those used Blu-rays are going for astronomical prices. That once they release it in a 4K set, I mean, to me, it makes those Blu-rays useless. I mean, and
I
worthless.
should sell
But
mine now.
that's what I
Mm.
think a lot of people are trying to, and or the second they get announced, they start selling their Blu-ray editions off. I've got that. I told you, I got that first aid set on DVD. I'm
Oh, the
good.
original DVD.
I'm
Yeah.
good. If they do a 4K set, I might bite. I might, but I'm not necessarily jumping at it. I've, like I said, I've become more and more picky. There's a handful that I want now. I still want all my favorite movies, but I have a feeling that if the format dies, then there's not going to be anything else. But I do feel like the special treatment is going to be handed down to some of these other films that still haven't received it yet, like Day of the Dead is going to have to get some sort of 4K. I don't know if a Scream Factory 4K is going to do it justice. It needs kind of like that second sight treatment or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. There's just a handful of those ones that still need it. Same with The Exorcist. The Exorcist is on 4K. Sorry, not The Exorcist.
Oh no, it's coming out
Actually,
now.
that's the one I'm still waiting for.
Mine's
It
ordered.
comes. Mine was ordered. It comes out. We get it this month, I think. I was talking
Yeah,
about The
pretty
Shining.
sure.
I apologize. The Shining's on 4K,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just a regular format for the most part. I know there's been a
Looks
steelbook
great
edition
though.
and whatever, and it looks great. It's gonna get a special edition. It's got to get a
Probably.
special edition at some point, like the second sight version or Arrow version. That's
Mm-hmm.
I'll hold off for that. And those are the ones. There's just a handful of those ones left
Well,
that I want to get, but they keep announcing new ones that drive me fucking crazy, like the Psycho box set, the Hellraiser box set,
see, yeah, we have to
with the
get
work
that
print.
now.
And so
Yes,
those ones, I'm like, fuck. That's Blood and
that I'll
Blacklight.
get.
Blood and Blacklist. If they did a Bay of Blood, I'll get. I got Torso on Blu-ray, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they did a special of that, I might be suckered into that too. It's just certain ones, though.
Yeah,
I'm trying to limit to just certain ones, the ones that I've held in a higher regard.
you
But then every now and then
you
they come
got
out with
to.
these other ones that you forget, you kind of forget, or you might have. But Blu-ray's fine. I'm saying Blu-ray is fine unless they come up with a special package or deluxe version of something that I'm just like, I gotta have that for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
and
I've got to have it.
some I want on 4K, correct? Like Dawn of the Dead, like The Exorcist, certain ones, 100%. I'm with you, but not everything. I don't need fucking Shocker on 4K. Well, let's just say I was a fan of Shocker, like a
Yeah.
Pumpkinhead. That's a better example. I'm a fan of Pumpkinhead. I'm happy with the Blu-ray. I don't
Yep.
need the 4K. I just don't. It's
Yep.
Pumpkinhead. I don't. You know what I'm saying? There's certain ones I want, and there's certain ones that I'm not going to spend the money on. But I'll tell you, if you're talking about how much everything's costing and everything else, now the pendulum has finally swung where the streaming services, if you have all the streaming services, if you've cut the cord, so to speak, and you've gone the streaming route, which was it, and I've been saying this for years, I probably said it on the show more than once. Eventually, it's going to catch up, and there's going to be a
Yeah.
problem. Now, it seems to me it's more expensive or just as expensive to have the streaming services as it is to have the cable. It ends up now being a wash, and it's fine. It's taken time, but it has happened. You got to go to the next thing. Luckily, I'm on
Well,
the next thing, and I can't just recommend it to anybody because you have to be, with my MB thing. But I literally just canceled my cable 2 weeks ago because I only had it because of football season. I only watched it, and my wife watched the news on her phone in the morning. Well, she said, I haven't watched the morning news in a while. If you want to cancel it, do it. I said, yeah, because I don't want to pay for football anymore. So right now, I got something. It's costing me $70 for 6 months, all right? As opposed to $70 extra a month that I was paying for cable. So
yeah.
I got
That's
out of it, and I'm happy. But people, the streaming stuff looks like it's going up. You got to balance it out, and you got to see what you're going to do
well. I did
if you're
quick
going to
math
collect or
here.
not. You
Quick
know?
math tax in. The streaming services are about $65 a month, which was still cheaper than what cable was trying to get out of me
Hmm.
a little while ago. Now I do have
How
a
much is
basic.
Netflix?
Well, that's the Netflix is the biggest chunk. I've done it. It works at the $65 a month, and this is inclusive of the NBA pack that I've got, the service for NBA, Disney.
Hmm.
What the fuck is that? Netflix. I don't know what I wrote there. Netflix, Prime, and
Prime.
Apple Plus. That includes all those services for us.
Okay,
And
now what if
Disney.
you got Shutter? A lot of people
Oh,
want Shutter.
sorry. Shutter. I had Shutter. I don't have it
It's going
anymore.
up. I
Well,
don't either.
I have it. I'll put it on the cheap side. I'd add another 100. So then it adds another $8. So you're looking at 60, 70, 73, $75, but with all of that. But here's the difference. $75 plus tax, and that was even the best cable package. That was like the mid cable package at the time.
Right.
75 plus tax. And you're getting, oh, I'd watch maybe that. I maybe would watch this. I'm not too sure. Maybe I watch that and whatever.
Right.
Whereas this is now, there's things to watch. Like
Hmm.
it's almost become like that video store where you're like, what am I going to pick? And then you've got to go through the
Right.
streaming services or whatever. It becomes more of a pain than anything. But I mean, you're getting everything at your fingertips now for that. Not everything. Let me rephrase that, but a lot more at your
No,
fingertips
but
now. For the same price, and this is tax in. And
hmm
mine was like the cable ones were plus tax. Now, when you add the other package I've got, now we're looking at, because I've got Fibe Alt TV, which is like an app version that it's on my TV, kind of like MB or Plex would be, but it's a legitimate TV like cable provider, and I just go into
right.
that app and I get my TV and I get my sports and I get Crave, which is there. But if I add that to the mix, then we were talking $95 tax in. So $95 a month for everything, but that includes all of those services. So I get all sports because I get whatever's live, and that's live sports. I get all news. I get the basic cable package that comes with
Hmm.
that aspect. And then I get you would get the NBA subscription for their pass for the year, Disney, Netflix, Prime, Apple Plus, and Shutter. So you're really getting everything for kind of like $95 tax in, which is
Right. Well, see,
not great, which is not great,
what's cable
but
then?
it's like paying for cable. You're right. It's like paying for cable, but you're getting way more than you ever could have gotten with cable, because cable was what they
True.
gave you. And so you're still kind of, and you could cherry pick some of these people, like Prime, for instance, we get because we have Prime, and it's just included in their
Right.
package, which is fantastic. You could cut a big chunk of that by losing Netflix, or if you're not into Shutter, or you don't want the NBA package, which not everybody wants, you could cut down. So $95 tax in is a lot for some, but again, comparative to what we used to get for cable TV, I think is actually pretty reasonable for all
Well,
of
I'm
that.
just saying it's gotten
But
even. Once upon a
yes,
time, it was the way to go, and I've been saying and saying and saying. Eventually, it's going to catch up. It's catching up. But check this out: if you want to watch modern TV, you got to get Hulu. Hulu is all TV shows that played the night before. You're not going to find that on Netflix. And if you want to watch
yeah, we don't have that
shows
here.
like on
Still, we have to VPN
CBS
in. Yeah, we don't get it in
or and
Canada.
okay, but if you want to watch a show, like I don't know what's a hot show now, whatever is popular on Fox or NBC or CBS or ABC, whatever the popular shows are, sitcoms, whatever I don't know what they are. I don't watch TV, so I watch the shows I watch. But
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, you have to have Hulu if you want to see that. You get it the next day, then you got to add that, and then you're still getting commercials unless you want to pay extra for that. Let's say $7, $10, twelve
Oh,
dollars.
of course.
Then there's that. Now, what if you're a sports fan? You got to get ESPN. Then you got
Well,
ESPN. Now they got the package: Disney,
I've worked that
ESPN,
into
and
this
Hulu.
though. That was
Okay,
not Hulu, but my cable package gives me the one that I've got that is like that, the app version of it. It gives me access to all live news, live TV, like the regular network TV, the major
hmm
stations anyway. And then I got a sports package and then another movie package actually that I've not here. It's Crave, which gives us all the HBO shit. and whatever. So
Right.
that's all worked into this price point. So I've got that, but it's with commercials, the live stuff.
Yeah.
The Crave stuff's not. That's like having the movie channel. That's like having First Choice or the Movie Network from back in the day plugged into this amount as well. So again, it's not an exorbitant amount. It's expensive, like everything is, but I mean that's inclusive of everything. And like that's why I say, okay,
Right.
well, I could do without like the Apple TV. I think it's free for us right now because of whatever you get a device and they give it to you free for X amount of time. So I wouldn't actually subscribe to Apple TV unless it was free.
No, I get it. I
No. So
understand.
then
Now,
that
what
one would
about
come
other
off.
stuff?
Shutter would come
Like,
off.
sure, I have Peacock. I have Peacock just for WWE Network.
Yeah.
It's on
I,
Peacock. You got to have it there. That's if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even have it. So I have Peacock. That's so if you're a wrestling fan, you have to have fucking Peacock. So now the other one I get for free, I get Paramount for free because I pay um, Walmart Plus because they deliver food here and everything
well,
else, and
yeah,
it
yeah. I
came with
mean,
the package.
you got Stack TV, Paramount. You could
Yeah,
go a different route and cut the cable, but it
that's
balances
too
out.
much money,
And
right?
Peacock we don't get here as well.
Uh
I
huh.
think there's equivalent. Some of their stuff goes onto another streaming service, like the Canadian equivalent or whatever. But yeah, there some of the standalone ones that are supposed to be an alternative to traditional cable are ridiculously expensive. Now, if you just had Netflix, it's still significantly cheaper than cable, no matter how many times they jack up the price. It's still significantly cheaper than a standard for the most part, unless you're getting the absolute bare bones basic. I barely get any channels
Yeah, but
cable package.
everybody has their shows now. There's exclusives to Prime. There's exclusives to Netflix. There's exclusives to freaking Hulu.
No,
And a
the
lot of these shows are hits. And if you want to watch these shows, they're only streaming on those platforms. So you have to have them all.
well, the only way to get around it is to then get a nefarious means, which is like through NB or Plex and be part of someone's server or whatever. There's no magic button other than to pay these subscription fees, and you're still what you're doing is you're paying for somebody to support those for you, and they're hosting them on your
Mm-hmm.
behalf. And even the live ones like IPTV. I had IPTV for a couple of years ago. I
That's the
talked about it
thing.
on the show. I had
That's
that,
kind of
and
what I have now.
yeah,
That's how
I
I get to watch. It's sports from around the world. It's everything sports. It's all TV. It's all local TV from around the world. United
yeah.
States, Canada, this, that, and including all sports. That's what you know what I'm watching right now? I'm watching they have a channel called MTV Classic. And it's just all fucking videos, old school, and it's
Yeah.
great. So literally, that's all I watch when I watch it. When I if I have like a minute to kill or whatever, I'll see if there's videos on. But I just got it for the sports. Like I'll
You
watch
wouldn't
the
even
game
need
the other night.
MB almost then, although MB
Well,
seems
no,
like
no.
it's working
MB's for
well.
movies and shows, right? MB's like and IPTV is just for live TV,
Oh,
but
it
it's
had
all
so
live.
much
It's
more. The
like
one I
cable.
had like a whole
I
streaming
could have
portion
had
to it.
more. Yeah.
And then if you looked like the channels I had, there was like a Friday the 13th channel, just played Friday the 13th movies 24/7, Scream,
I
Halloween.
probably have
There's a
that too.
dedicated channel in the IPTV, but it worked
Okay.
well for 6 months. And the only reason I didn't watch it is because have all these movies. Why
Right.
would I
I'm not.
put it on and you're jumping into the middle of Resurrection? Okay, kill me now. I don't need to see that. I mean, if I want to put on Friday the 13th, I'll put a Friday the 13th on. If I want to put whatever, like they had all these 24-hour channels dedicated to these franchises, and then more. Porn, everything. It was all there, open. You could lock it if you wanted to, but it was all open. Worked great for 6 months, and then it was like giving me hassles. I'm like, you know what?
Ah,
I went back. I'm like, this is costing me. It was inexpensive in the big picture, like 10
right.
bucks a month or something like
Right.
that. But I'm
Yeah.
like, but I like for $5 more, I can actually just get a dedicated service. It didn't give me nearly
Yeah.
as many options. But
Oh
I'm like,
no.
we didn't end up cutting Netflix out of it because everybody in the house was watching that, and this was only on one TV. So then I was like, well, this
Hmm.
service is spotty at best. And they're really trying to come down on IPTV because it's illegal. So they are trying to find ways to block it, kind of like they used to do it when you would like the satellite, whatever, if you could get into it and then they would zap you and then you'd have to go get it,
Mm.
wait till the new code came out and type in a new code to be able to
Well,
access it
mine's
again
an
way
app.
back in the day. Yeah.
Mine is an app. It's called Decoder. That's the name of the app. It's Decoder, and it's basically like everything you get on IPTV except just TV. There's also two things. One says movies and one says television shows. You could hit the download, and the guy told me, don't do that. He goes, that's what MB is. You already have that. You don't need that there. Otherwise, you have to pay extra. So you have MB for this, and you have IP, and you have Decoder for everything else. So I have all this stuff now. So
And
I
it's
finally
working.
found a way around
It's
it.
streaming
Everything's
beautifully.
great. Yes,
Yeah.
everything's great. Just ship from around the world too. It's amazing. So
It's
now
usually a minute behind. If you're watching live TV, it's usually 30 seconds.
Oh.
So if you're watching live sports
Well,
and you've got your
I'm
like
not
thing
gonna
on
know.
here, just don't have anything
Right.
because it's always a little bit about
Well,
30 seconds to a minute behind. That's how it works.
I got news for you. When I watched it on
Yeah.
cable, I was always behind too, compared to everybody else's cable for some reason. So I'm used to that. That's okay.
Okay, there
But
you go.
now, fucking okay. You mentioned the Friday the 13th channel and the Scream channel, and you don't watch them because you own them. Here's my question: because we're approaching Halloween time, spooky season. We're you know what that really reminds me
A
of?
week
Do
after
you
we were
remember?
just bitching about it. Yeah.
Do you remember Rob Zombie's Halloween? And it was right after Dee Wallace and her husband got killed. It's the Laurie Strode's parents, and
Yeah.
there's a call to the house, and there's like a message going out, and it's them. It's the two of them acting real corny. It's Dee Wallace and the other one.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure they say something. Ooh, it's spooky. I think they say show. That's what I think about. Like freaking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really old ladies or freaking someone talking, to someone in first grade. And I'm not the only one. That's the issue with the expression is. But I want to find that thing on Rob Zombie's Halloween and play it because it's like, ooh, it's spooky. Anyway. So spooky.
This is the thing that
season
gets
here.
you in trouble, Dave, because then you put that out there to the world and then they shit
I
on
didn't
you.
put anything out to the
No,
world.
I'm just saying if
Becca
you
said something and I said testify. Basically, I was like, I'm glad. And what did they do? They jumped on me, not her. Why do I have a fucking? What is so bad about me that I have a mark on my back that everybody wants to come at me? Remember we used to say it's everything. All the shit sticks to me, and Brandon could say anything and nobody will say a fucking word.
Teflon B.
Teflon B. That's how it all got started. But me, I say something innocently, not innocently, but you know what I mean. Someone else makes a post.
I think
I
it's
say,
because
yeah,
you come out with your opinion, which is strong, and then you fight that
agree.
opinion. You'll stand by that opinion, but then you'll say like peace and love or whatever, and then people feel like you're coming at it from two different viewpoints, or you're being a hypocrite,
But it is
which
peace
you're
and
not
love.
being. Exactly.
What's
you're
wrong
not.
with having an opinion on something? Again,
Exactly.
I don't say anything negative. I don't put something
I'm
negative
only
into
going
the
by
world.
what people put in the comments below you, and I'm like reading it, going, "What the fuck?" And then I'm like, "Yeah, like I said, I've smashed one too many VHS tape to get involved anymore." I can't deal with people. That's what I boil down to.
Well, the thing is, see
not worth
what
it.
you've said. This is what you said. I think I'm just going to shamelessly steal things from everybody else's group page instead of answering the questions there. Post them in Exploding Heads in both of our groups and just start stealing everything and get our stuff going again, big time like it used to be, and have more engagement there. And then shamelessly steal so I don't have to talk in any other group but ours. I might just do it and I don't care. Because there are people that belong to our group that belong to those groups too. But I'm just going to start lifting their shit and putting it. And if anybody questions me, I'm going to say,
is it everybody
it's
that's
safer
coming
here.
at you? Are you think it's everybody? I always feel like it's the same handful of people.
Yeah, I guess so. I just don't want to start,
Yeah.
And I don't know
Man.
why.
I don't know
It's
what
like
it
I
is
said.
today, but your microphone looks more like a black cock and balls than ever before right now.
Where's the balls? I don't see balls.
The balls is this part.
Is the bottom?
Yeah.
So it's going up. This
Yeah,
is
it's
the
like
top.
you're
So I would
eating
have
ass
to blow
right
it from
now.
the top.
Yeah.
I see. One of those. All right. So
Sorry
Let me-
for
can I-
switching gears there.
no, can I tell you about these? I'm going to try to tell you about these Children of the Corns
Oh,
because
yeah.
I want to see where I left off here. Let's see my watch list here. My watch list. I'm sorry.
I think it was part
Let's see.
4.
Okay. Sounds about right. Okay.
I believe. So it was 5 and 6 that you're going to check out next, I believe.
Yes. Okay. So next comes 5, and I'm actually looking at the cover, and it comes out in '98, and it's got the freaking, not the floating heads, but a very '90s cover. You'd have to look at it to see, but I was like, Children of the Corn 5. Now let me look at it on the B, because to look at it, I'm not going to remember um, everything about it until I look at who's in the movie. But anyway, Children of the Corn, what the hell is it called? 5? Fields of Terror. Yeah, I'll tell you what. 6 college students on a road trip take a wrong turn and end up trapped in a strangely deserted rural town inhabited by a murderous cult of children. I will tell you this. I enjoyed this one too. This one, here's the issue. They started bringing back Gatlin in this one. It started coming up again. And this has a good
The
cast in it.
township?
It has a,
That's the
yeah.
township, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Eva Mendes is in it, and she looks, oh my gosh, stunning. And it's a cool story. It's these 4 kids go into this thing, and 2 get killed earlier, and they get brought in. I'm not going to get into it all, but bottom line is, it's a good movie. I'm fine with it. I give it like a 3 out of 5 on the B on Letterboxd. Again, I thought I was not going to like it at all, and I end up liking it. It's just slasher is like it's fine. So I don't know what the hate is. But now I will tell you this. The next one is the worst one. Children of the Corn 6. Isaac's Return. And it's too bad because I was excited about it. And because it's Isaac. But it's the worst one. It's badly executed. It's convoluted. Isaac's there, but it's just not a good movie. It's the worst one of the franchise. I gave it a 1.5. So it equates to a 3 out of 10 or something like that. You know what I mean? So then we
Wow.
have Children of the Corn Revelation, which,
So sorry,
go
that
ahead.
was part 6.
Yeah, 666. Yep.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
huh.
Well, that was going
So
to be the
let's see.
Halloween title at one point, right? I think way back
Oh
when
yeah, that's
they're thinking when Tarantino was going to be involved or something,
yeah.
or was
There's
that
so many
before?
things with it.
Yeah, whatever.
I can't even
Oh
remember.
shit.
There's so much. We could talk for 20 minutes about that, just like Freddy vs. Jason, everything that was before. But anyway, Children of the Corn Revelation came out in 2001. When calls to her grandmother go unanswered, Jamie Lowell uncovers the truth behind her mysterious disappearance. So another one, it's fine. It's fine. It gets a little weird, but it's about Gatlin, and it's about the Children of the Corn and the curse. It's weird that they all of a sudden they brought back the Gatlin stuff, which was cool. And ultimately, I give it a 2.5. So again, not
An
terrible.
average, average. Yeah.
Not terrible. There's only been one bad so far. Seriously. Then they had a remake in 2009, a made-for-TV remake, which a lot of people hate. And I got to tell you, I think the only reason they hate it is because they're comparing it to the first movie because it's a remake. But this is completely different. The couple are arguing, but they seem more true to life. They take a swerve where I don't think they're going to. There's some unexpected things that happen, but set primarily in '75 in Gatlin. This remake of the original centers around traveling couple Bert and Vicky as they fight to survive a cult of murderous children who worship an entity known as He Who Walks Behind the Rose. So anyway, it's not terrible. It's fine. The girl in it, oh my gosh, is absolutely stunning. Candace McClure, her name is. My lord. So but it's cool. It's just
Is she on your
different.
list?
She might have been if she'd have done some more. But if she
Sorry.
no. She was in the
Me.
Carrie remake with what's her name? Okay, remember in the Carrie remake with
The TV one or the
Angela Bettis? She played Sue Snell in that one.
okay.
If you remember her. Yeah.
No. But I can look her up.
Yeah. So anyway, then it got weird towards the end. I didn't know where they were going, and it's unfortunate because the story itself was fine. They just got trapped in this town, and one thing led to another, and so, but another one that's 2.5. So whatever. I guess you can equate that to a 5 out of 10. Again, one bad movie, couple average, and other ones a little above average. And then last night I watched what do you call it? Children of the Corn Genesis. And man, I liked it. So weird, different. This would be a movie that you could almost think with like what people used to say about the Hellraiser, that there was a script and they wedged children of the corn in it, because this is I'll read you this. Tim and Allie seek shelter in a remote desert compound after becoming lost and stranded. A strange Manson-like character, Preacher, reluctantly allows them inside with strict orders to be gone by the morning and not wander where you're not invited. So this couple breaks down. They end up going to the guy, Billy Drago's in it. He's really good. And it's him and his wife, and she's from another country. And where's she from? Ukraine, I think. And then there's this young couple, and they're pregnant, and they have to wait till the morning, and they discover that they have a child locked up outside in the shed, and they're trying to figure out. And there's this whole game to the whole next hour of who's evil and who's not and what's going on, and it does tie back to Gatlin loosely, because the guy was when the stuff happened in Gatlin in the first movie, he was away in the army or whatever the hell he was doing, and he came back at the end after the massacre had happened, and he was going to kill himself because of what was happening, but somehow he survived, and now he comes, and now he has this baby. He says the baby is evil, but his wife says that he's the evil one, and she has him trapped there, and it's this whole thing, and things are happening throughout. So it's this couple trapped; they can't go anywhere, and they're trying to figure out what's going on here. So it's a cool little story, and I was fine with it. At the end of the day, I give it a 3 out of 5. So like a 6 out of 10 type movie, maybe a little more.
Oh
Maybe
wow!
six and a
So
half.
like in
So
that Hellraiser realm.
yeah, so I'm telling you, the Children of the Corn franchise. What am I, 9 movies in? Um, you know, 2 average, 1 below average, and everything else is definitely watchable. So I like what they're doing. I'm surprised, but yeah, I don't know why people hate on it except for comparisons. If you're comparing, this is what I do now. When I watch anything, nothing else exists. I just take it. I pretend that you know what I mean? I'm on a desert island. I've never heard of this title. Somebody hands me the movie, watch it. That's what I say about the movie The Nun that everybody hates on. Even though
Yeah.
part 2 just came out, I still say if you had no context about this movie and didn't know about the Conjuring universe and didn't know, I don't know, and someone just gave you this movie and said, watch this movie, people would not hate. They'd have a different freaking opinion on it. But
Oh, I mean, I liked it anyway. Again,
I did too.
very
People
very
hate
nice
it.
to look at. But it's fine.
Yeah.
I get it. Did you see the consecration from this? Did I say that right? From this year,
I
the
don't
one, the
think so.
Christopher. This guy has been. This is that guy that did Triangle, the Banishing from a couple years back that didn't get a
Oh,
very good reception. I love the fact that this guy's still sticking with the horror genre. You know, he gets some misfires here and there. I actually didn't mind it. I will have to rewatch it for year end because it didn't blow me away, but I liked my time with it. I enjoyed the movie itself. The one with the nuns.
I think I skipped it intentionally. Yeah, it didn't make my cut.
But the director should make you make your cut just to check it out.
Yeah.
It's Christopher
Christopher
Smith. Is
Smith.
that yeah, it's Christopher Smith. Yeah. So
Jenna
yeah.
Malone is in it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like her and I like
I do
him.
too.
So there
You
was
think I
like
should
I was
watch it,
like,
huh?
well, yeah, it's this year. I think you should just based on them.
Okay.
Is it will it, I don't know, but I mean, put it this way, it's definitely on the better side of the stuff that I watched this year. But I can see people thinking it was just average. And then I've got to ask, is the Pope's Exorcist worth watching? Pulled a U. I heard the Pope's Exorcist, and when I was on a trip for work,
Right.
they're like, "You must be happy the new Exorcist movie's out." I'm like, "No, that doesn't come out till October." Like, "No, there's one in the theater right now." I'm like, "Oh, that's the Pope's Exorcist," and they were looking at me like, "Oh, is that like not that they were horror fans, but I didn't realize my reaction was so strong." I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, that's just some sort of rip-off movie. I know it has Russell Crowe in it, but is it worth seeing?"
I didn't see it. I skipped
Oh,
it because basically what I heard
yeah.
was kind of like I don't know. It's almost like not it's so bad it's good, but I guess some people like it. It's so out there, I guess sometimes. But I've also heard people say it's a piece of crap, so I don't know. But I was not going to watch it. No. I wasn't gonna watch that, and this is, you know,
Well,
still not impressed. Yeah, 2023. Did I watch anything new? Let's see, since we've talked. No, Resurrected, Talk to Me, Cobweb, Demeter. Yeah, that's so. Did I just watch a new one? Oh, I watched one that I thought was a horror movie, and it's not.
and that was that. I thought it was labeled as a horror film.
I don't care what it was labeled. I watched it and it wasn't. That's what I'm
What was
telling
it
you.
again? What was it called again? Bleed? Don't bleed?
Birth, birth, rebirth. Close. Bleed, don't bleed.
I
Birth,
don't care.
rebirth.
I'm gonna cut you. Bleed or don't bleed. Doesn't
Yeah, right.
no skin off my balls. It says horror thriller, really.
It does say horror thriller, but literally there's no horror in it except the bottom line is this woman has scientifically found a way to maybe bring people back from the dead. So there's a pig involved, of course. That's a horror movie. And there's a child involved. Another character loses a child in an accident, and she gets kidnapped from the hospital. And this other woman that works at the hospital has ways to bring them back slowly. And that is it. There are things that happen. Nobody kills anybody. It's not, what's the word? It's science. It isn't freaking anything supernatural at all. I heard one person say, "Oh, it's a mad scientist film, so that's horror." And I'm like, it's just someone trying to have an idea, but it's not it could be looked at as a mad scientist by definition because you're trying to bring someone back from the dead, but this is done scientifically. You don't understand what I'm saying? It's not, I don't know. It's, to me, it wasn't horror. There was a bet about it
Interesting.
because I have to talk about it tonight on Jay of the Deads because Jay watched it and said he doesn't think it would be, I would consider it a horror, and he didn't. And Dr. Shock said, I think he will consider horror. They have a $20 bet. Well, Jay's going to win the bet. I had to come correct. It was not horror to me. I thought it was going to turn into horror in the last half hour. Like some of, a lot of these movies are, then, shit hits the fan in the last half hour and people get killed and this happens and that, whatever. None of that happens. So there's one, I can't even tell you. But no, I don't consider horror. So I was wrong on that. Even though I did it, it's labeled what it is and people watch it. Now back to Letterboxd here, Consecration. I have 30 to 40 people. And the highest, everyone is giving it a 3. Everyone. There's one 3.5. There's another 3.5. Jason Smith gave it 4. He doesn't count. Sorry, he rates everything higher. He rates everything higher than everybody else. Always. He's one of those. He's like Scott Crawford. Certain guys just don't count for me. 3.5. It's true. Look at all the movies, and he always has the highest rating of all your friends on Letterboxd. So anyway, I have
but that's above average still. 3's even
I guess,
I don't know.
But it's not a movie that's going to make anyone's top 10. So if I don't think it's top 10 worthy, that's my goal. That's why I don't watch them. I don't need to watch another 6 or a 7. I need to watch something more than that. But anyway, I still might watch it based on what you're saying. So,
I mean, I watched this a little while ago, but it was one of the ones I kept meaning to bring up. And since we're talking about 2023, I said, "Oh shit, I'll bring it up again." And I was not. You're right. It would definitely make my top 20 list if we were doing that. Okay. I don't know what we're going to do this year, but possibly right now I'd have to look at my Letterboxd again. It would be in my top 10 if we had to go with right now. What do we have to talk about?
Fair. Wow, that's crazy. So I'll watch it then. I'll check it. Maybe you've opened me up to something that's a gem.
Well, again, it was not a dud. That's for sure.
Right. No one said it was a dud. I don't see any lows. That's what I'm saying. Most people are saying 3. So when I see 3 stars, I'm like, okay, it's a movie that people liked and liked. Didn't love, isn't making any list, but so I was like, well, so whatever. It is what it is. So there's one more thing I should do because I've been doing this. And then we can do our reviews. I got to give my next 10 girls.
Introduction to the creepy segment.
The creepy segment. Wow, this is creepy.
The creeper. I don't know. I'm just kidding. This is just to make sure we don't get canceled. I'm all for it, but just to.
It would only be creepy
Yeah.
It would be creepy if they were underage or something like that.
And
Although, again, I could probably look at
number
girls
40,
now.
number 39, Sandra from Friday the 13th Part 2. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, she didn't. We talked about that thing on the Skeleton. Did you listen to that Skeleton Crew we did?
I have
The
not had
top
a
10, the
chance.
hot
I'm
10.
way behind
Okay,
on podcasts as well,
no,
to
no
be
worries.
honest. Yeah.
Because that came up on the hot 10 of the big three. Jamie said something. She goes, "I'm surprised nobody has Sandy." And I'm like, "Well, there's a reason for that." She's like, "Yeah, none of us wanted to say that, so we did, so we had to." But here's the fucked up part: if we never found out that she was underage, we all would have said it. Does that make us creepy? We're not fucking pedophiles. We're attracted to grown women. You know what I
No,
mean?
and
So,
we were
but
younger. We were younger than them. That's the scary part. We're talking in
that's true
retrospect
too.
now, which people can't seem to separate.
Yeah, at
Because
the
if I was to
time,
make a
right?
list, Drew Barrymore would be on the list. And Drew Barrymore, she was a kid at ET. I'm like, yeah, but I had a crush on
Look at her
her in the
now. Who cares?
90s, and I had a
Yeah,
crush on her in the 90s. A, she's either my age or older,
right,
or my age or 1 year or two younger. But I mean, like, I'm not
right,
talking about from ET. I'm talking about when
right.
I saw her in Poison Ivy and into the 90s and Scream and whatever. I just was a fan. That was it. And then that she also
But
liked Tom
still,
Green, which I thought was weird. And still, like, I like her personality. Don't not watching her show, but I like her personality from the movies and everything else. Like Carrie just put on not 51st Dates, Never Been Kissed. That was like a favorite of hers way back when in the 90s as well. It's a fun comedy. It's got a cool cast and it's a stupid romantic comedy, but it's fun to watch. I like it. I like her. She would definitely be on my list. But yeah, it's kind of creepy when you're like looking at it like ET. I think someone mentioned this. Like
yeah, but
when you ever, if you're dating somebody, do you ever watch their old movies if they're a kid in the movie? And like, wouldn't that be like all weird? Like when Tom Green and her were dating, would she watch it? Would they watch ET together?
I guess, but I mean, only if you're attracted to them that way. I mean, you see pictures of your wife when she's a girl, a little girl, and you say she's cute. That doesn't mean anything. She's a cute little girl. There's cute little girls all over the place. It's not sexual. It's just
Yeah,
girls
it's
that are
just,
cute. So you know what I mean? It is what it is. My cats are cute too. I don't want to fuck them. You know what I mean? There's no difference.
I
You know
worry
what I'm
sometimes.
saying?
I feel like you do sometimes.
I love them. They're good. They're good kitties. They're good babies.
I
You
don't
know, but I
want
mean,
to
they're
fuck
cute. They're cute. There's no difference between calling a 6-year-old girl cute and calling your fucking 6-year-old cat cute. There's no difference. They're cute because they're
I,
small.
I get
It's
it.
not
You know,
sexual.
I know.
Right, that's
I
what I'm
got
saying.
it.
So
I
now I'll
know.
go a step further. What is wrong with you having a crush on Drew Barrymore and ET when you're the same age? There's
There's
nothing
nothing.
wrong with
That's what
that.
I'm
It
saying.
could have
I,
started then.
but
Right.
funny enough, it didn't because I wasn't even like in that realm, right? I was just there
Well,
for
that's
the movies.
fair.
But I'm talking about like when you think about it, uh, because yeah, of the time frame of when the actual crush part would have established would have been in the 90s.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm saying just if,
Hit
then
this
it shouldn't make a
again.
difference anyway. Like, look at it this way. There's a girl that I've had a crush on since second grade when we were in second grade together, and I still think she's attractive. That
Yeah,
doesn't mean
I mean
shit.
you
So I
grew
was
up with them
attracted to her
exactly.
when we were 10, and I'm
No,
attracted to her
you're
when we're
right. You're
50.
absolutely right.
So what?
It's just I don't know this day and age. Who knows? But you know the funniest
I
part of
know,
this.
but
So just whether it be yesterday or 2 days ago, Jason Smith interviewed Vicky from Part Two,
yes, he sent me
Lauren,
a thing.
and so he actually made a mention of he sent me the thing too, and he said, "Oh, I called you. I called you up because if you remember a
Right.
couple of years ago, we did the top 10 girls of Friday series."
Heard.
And I left Vicky off. I bumped her
Uh-huh.
for somebody else, which is shocking because she should be there. There's no question she should be there. And I think it was his number 3. But they talk about Sandra and they talk about because the fact they're in the same movie
Oh,
together, they talk about that. And the
I didn't get
funny
to it yet.
part of that is that she says, you know what? Nobody thought about it because she lied. Nobody made a big deal. They did edit it out when they found out because I guess there was some nudity that they didn't end up having to cut out because
Oh
they
yeah,
didn't want to get in trouble.
completely.
But supposedly her birthday was like a couple of months later, but just because of
Right.
legalities involved. Like Lauren said, she was, I
Understood.
think, only like a few months older than her.
Right.
But that's it. You're talking about 17 versus 18, and that those are the laws and whatever it may be. So again, the fact is she's much older than us. She's much older than I am, that's for sure. Because I was what 6, 7 when Friday the 13th, 7 when I guess Friday
Right.
the 13th Part 2 came out.
Right.
7. So what difference does it make?
Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying, But
you got to be
although
careful.
she would never have made my list anyway, to be honest. To be totally honest, not in a
Fair.
movie where you've got Terry, you've got Vicky, yeah, and then all hey, we've got another 11 or yeah, 11 movies to pull from as well. So, no
Mhm.
pun intended. Oh wow, that was a horrible joke.
Awesome.
uh, but the funny part of that is I had no clue because I've never seen Neighbors. I know Neighbors. You love Neighbors.
Oh my God. Yeah.
She's in it. I
I
did
know
you
she
remember
is.
that? Okay, you
Of
did
course
know
I
that.
did. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's her. Yeah, her.
I
She's in
assumed you
two of
did.
my very favorite movies, Friday 2 and Neighbor. That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to meet her. Yeah, 100%. That's great. I just
And Jason Smith
yeah.
asked a very good question. He said, "Hey, he brought up the fact that we
Don't
rated
blow
her
it.
on the show, which is I was shocked. Oh, I won't blow it. I won't tell you
Yeah,
anything
I
else."
was 10 minutes in and like I didn't realize it was gonna be a fucking hour and 20-minute interview. I was like, oh
Yeah,
my usually interviews with these people are like 20 to
yeah,
30 minutes max. I'm like, holy I thought I was gonna finally be able to watch a video because I never do because I never have time. I can
yeah.
listen, but that's why I don't watch people's videos. I just if I can listen to a podcast, it's easier because watching requires you to sit down and watch it. Where you could take a podcast with you on the go when you're doing anything. So there I
Well,
am sitting in the parking lot. Frankie's in Walmart getting some shit that she was shopping for, and I was waiting. I was like, "Oh, I'll watch this video now." And I look and it says an hour and 20 minutes. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I watched like 10 minutes of it, and she came out. I'm like, "Well, I'll get to it." But here's the thing about creepy and everything else. It's so tough because nowadays you can't say anything, and I'm like, she's not on my list. But let's just say Jenna Ortega's on my list. She's fucking 21 years old. Okay.
she's
And
how old? Oh, 2020. That's
uh-huh.
very old. She's 2021.
Okay. Is there something wrong with that? Don't you think she's hot? Or
She's
do you
very
think it's that?
attractive. She's very
Okay.
attractive, but I'm telling you, in this day and age, you're going to be a creeper. It's the
This
reality
is
of that's just
right.
what's happened. Even though, like, when you think about what '80s movies were, it was like old men making teen comedies with supposed teenagers taking off their clothes. We had this discussion. We are talking about even now, Revenge of the Nerds. They were in university, but ultimately, you're still talking about 20, 21, 22-year old women. So there's always been this. It's
I
only
know.
recently that it's been considered creepy, or more so recently considered creepy. It's
Right.
like everybody's been outed for thinking that this is just some wrongdoing, but legally, whether and again
Well,
whether right or wrong, 18 is legal. Like I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio was a shit on what a few months ago because he dates 19-year-olds, and he's my age. He's 49.
good on him. Good for him, I say. I don't know. I don't
People
think
are
they
like,
should
what
be
do they
shit
have in
on.
common? Sex. What do, like? Do they
Right.
have to? Do they all have to be reading War and Peace together? I mean, at the end of the day,
What's the
who cares? It's
difference?
legal, and whatever, and like that's like it just drives me crazy that I have to hear
That's
other
the
people.
problem. You can't say things because then you're like they
Well,
make
this
you
is our
second guess
show,
yourself.
so you can say it. We've already. This is the
Right. But
all this is the bullshit that we say to clear us for the next 10 minutes. Now, go ahead, Dave.
right. Well, what can you say? It's like now you start to doubt yourself. I'm like, fuck, is there something wrong with me? Because I think Jenna
Nope,
Ortega's hot.
no,
How
not at
can there
all.
be? This is what I'm
No, I
saying. But
just
other
watched her
people will look
next.
at
I
that.
mean, she's yeah, and we see her
She's
in the
attractive
last
as
two
fuck.
Screams, and she's
Yeah.
in horror films. So I mean,
Right.
you pop two like it's fine. So
At the same time, I'm attracted to women my age and older than me too. Doesn't matter. What about the girl from Modern Family? Way hot. What's her name?
oh the wife.
Fujera?
Oh
Yeah.
well, actually, I like both
Sophia.
Sophia, but I also like the wife. I like just the mom.
No, Sophia is the mom,
No,
isn't
the
she?
other one. Fuck Sophia. The mom. Sophia's the one, the accent that everybody goes goo goo over. I'm talking about the mom, the main woman in the show, the
I
mom.
thought she was the main woman.
No, she's a
So
secondary mom.
then who's
She's
Sophia? Like
she's the
an aunt?
yeah.
Isn't
She's
she
well,
married to
the
fucking Al Bundy?
family. Yeah, but the main. So they're part of the main family, but the main family is whatever. I don't know the names. The
I
husband and
never watch
wife,
it.
and that
Uh-huh.
wife. That's who I'm talking
Okay.
about.
I don't know. I just watch it in
Everybody
passing.
forgets her because they're talking about Sophia. Yeah, Sophia's great.
Right.
Tons of people have a crush on her, but I'm talking about the main wife. She's everybody just forgets about her.
Oh, so she's not the daughter. See, I thought when I saw the thing that one was the daughter and one was the mom.
Well, there's that
How do you
too.
like that?
There's a daughter as well. There's a fucking whole family. There's
Julie
in-laws and
Bowen.
whatever. Yeah, I would assume so. I don't know the names.
Yeah, Julie Bowen, Claire. Her name is Claire. She's a
Yes,
blonde
that's
girl.
her. Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, she looks pretty, of course. Yeah, certainly. And how old is Sophia? That's what I'm saying. I think she's hot. 1972, same age as me. Matter of fact, she was born a month before I am. So there you go. She's hot, and so is Jenna. One's 52, one's 20. So fucking what? Anyway, it's
Yeah.
just, and who else is on the show? Haley. Who's this one?
That's the other
She was
daughter.
Sarah
Yeah.
Hyland, born in 1990. Oh, that's the one. See, I've seen her in passing and said, wow. Okay.
Same, she'd probably be Jenna Ortega's age, roughly.
No, she was born in 1990. She's 33.
Oh, 30. Oh my God, even older. Yeah, okay, much older.
Yeah. A lot of times that happens. You know what I mean? And people are like, just like the girl that's playing, and the girl in the Little Mermaid. You know the new Little Mermaid movie.
I
The
know
live
of it. I
action?
don't know the name. I don't know the name of the girl. I don't
Well,
know any
it's
of
Haley
that.
Bailey. Haley Bailey. I can't say it because she was born in 2000, so she's 23, right? Very pretty girl, but she's playing in the movie. The Little Mermaid's probably supposed to be like 16 or something. You know what I mean? So if you say, "Oh, I think the new Little Mermaid is hot," something's wrong with you. She's 23 years old, but because it's the Little Mermaid and she's 23,
Back in our day, people
something's the
said they
matter.
wanted to fuck Jessica Rabbit. Everybody wanted to fuck Jessica Rabbit. So anything goes.
Well, yeah, I wanted to fuck Cool World. Tim Basinger.
Yeah,
I
Brad
thought she was
Pitt.
hotter than. Yeah, she was hotter than Jessica Rabbit, I thought. And then there's, what's her name? I'll get off it. I'm just saying that these girls are like 20, 21, 22, 23, and so be it. But let's get to my list quick, as long as we're going to be creepy. Boom. Okay, here we go. So this would be 40 to 41, 10 of them. Okay. So, all right. Kelly Ripa. It's probably a surprise, huh?
I know who Kelly Ripa is. Oh, she's super cute
Yeah, very much so. Carmen Electra.
and much more attractive than Dick Clark. That's for sure. Carmen Electra. Yeah.
Yeah, way hot. Okay.
Yep.
Nikki Cox. You know who Nikki Cox is?
Yes,
Honestly, if this
that
was
would've
in
been-
order,
This
she'd be closer to the top 10.
we
but
brought her
it's
up on
not
the
in
show
order.
before. She was on that really fucking horrible sitcom that had
Yes.
the comedian Bobcat.
Bobcat
And
Goldthwait.
the dude that you thought was not going to do anything, and then went on to Entourage and became pretty big. I think he wasn't E, but he was on
Unhappily
E.
Ever After.
Unhappily Under After. It was so bad.
Oh,
That's a
she
bad
was so
sitcom that had a
hot.
laugh track. We were talking about last episode. There's no way a live studio audience would have laughed at 1 minute of that
No,
show. But she was smoking. That's the reason
She
you
was-
watch the show.
oh my God,
Yeah.
was she?
Yeah.
And then she went on to do another show called was it Vegas?
Huge
It was
cock.
another Vegas, and very hot in that too. Okay. What the fuck? Mariah Carey. Love Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Not as much nowadays, but the last all
You
in the
mentioned her way
90s
too early in the year, Dave.
and everything else. No, stop. Don't get me started. Oh shit. So Mariah Carey. Okay. This one might come as a surprise, but Tara Reid. And
I get it. Again, she's a little too skeletal for me. Skeletor, I call her. I don't call her that at all. It just popped up now. But I can get it. I think a lot of people thought that.
people dog her like now. I still think she looks hot now. I said when I saw Charlie's Farm, I thought she looked great. I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm very
I got to
attracted to
rewatch
her.
Charlie's
Always-
Farm for the slasher show. That's for sure. She's in-
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, she looks great, and I thought she's always looked great. Even the first time I saw her was American Pie,
Problem
I
is she-
think, and even then, that whole
Yeah,
cast
well-
of characters, she was my favorite one then.
Oh no, mine was always the exchange student. I think
Yeah,
I went
everyone
that
likes
route.
her. Yeah,
Shannon Elizabeth or Elizabeth, something
Yep.
like that. It was that she came into the Sharknado movies, and then even though they're campy, somehow she elevated herself above the crowd to be seemingly the worst actress of the bunch. It just you figure, how is that possible? It was almost like she couldn't absorb or understand what she was doing. You know, like Bruce Campbell can thrive in that atmosphere and
Mhm.
become an icon. Everything that they were doing to her was trying to give her all these, like, I think she even had a robotic arm at one point, or put it like a saw on it, almost like Bruce Campbell-esque, but it's like she didn't, it didn't work. and,
Nah,
and her
fair.
acting just did not help.
That's fine. I think she has some demons in her life. I
Excuse
think
me.
she has some personal issues, but yet I still think she looks really great. So okay. So that's her. Denise Richards. There you go.
Yep.
I mean,
No question.
what can you say? Oh my gosh,
Wild
incredible.
Things,
Okay.
everything pretty much
Yep.
like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Woo. Holy cow. Remember when she was in Valentine?
Yeah.
Oh
Even
my
I like
lord.
Valentine as
Oh
well. I
my
actually like
lord.
Valentine. Everybody, there's a lot of shit on that. And I'm like, that plays like an 80s slasher more than a lot of the
Yes,
ones that came out at that time frame for sure.
definitely. 100%. Okay, this is my first cheat because it's two with the same first name. So um Christina Aguilera and Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
So
I think there was a lot of guys our age that would have Christina Applegate on there because
oh yeah,
of the show, right?
of
And that
course. When we
poster.
were that
And
age. Oh
then
yeah.
she had
I had that poster.
that poster. Like, I mean, so I think it
Yep.
just goes without saying that she was like, yeah, a lot
Yes.
of kids' fantasies.
And Christina Aguilera was always my favorite from Jump when all those girls were around. When Britney was around, and what's her name, the other girl, Jessica Simpson, and the other one.
Oh
But
yeah.
she came out. I always thought that, and she just got. I love her when she went into that ex Tina mode, and even when she had the dark hair. I think that she's just really pretty. Okay,
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Lisa Bonet, and that is
Oh,
one
good
that
one. That's
I've
a good
had
call.
since I
Yeah.
was the same age as her. You know what I'm saying? Ever since back then, all through my childhood, all through Cosby Show and everything else, I always loved her.
A different world.
And then,
Even a different world you loved
wow,
her.
in the first season
Angel
when she
Heart.
was there,
Holy shit.
dude, an
Talked about
Angel
it. Angel
Heart,
Heart. Yeah.
stunning, so incredible, so incredible. Wow. Again, she should be higher, but I didn't do them all in order. But I was just running through 'em. Robin Givens, she was the one that started my
I know the
obsession.
name. Why can I think of this? What is
She
she
was on
from?
Head of the Class. She was married to Mike Tyson.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
I
Yeah, I
remember
remember her.
seeing her
Head of
the
the
first
class.
time. She was on the cover of the Inquirer, and I cut it out and I put it on my bedroom door. And I don't know how old I was, but whenever Head of the Class was out, whenever Tyson was still early in his championship run, it was there. So whatever year that I was probably 16, whatever. She's probably older than me,
Whatever happened to her?
obviously. Oh, I don't know.
She had
She did
Tyson
all kinds
money.
of bad
She
things, I
left.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But oh my gosh. Whew. And here we go. Last but not least, Stephanie McMahon. Yes.
Is that
I've all
Vince's daughter?
Vince's daughter.
I don't
Especially
know.
the
Okay.
way she looked in the freaking late 90s, early 2000s. My
Was she a
gosh.
wrestler?
She did wrestle. Yeah, she was always on the show, but not usually as a wrestler. Just a character. But yeah, that's when she was always on. And I just thought I always used to say she'd be the perfect person to marry because I think she's hot as hell and she's rich as fuck. So I'm like that's who you want to
Yeah.
marry. And your Vince McMahon's freaking you could be an in. Oh, for years I wanted to marry her. Anyway,
Yep.
that's all for now.
That's good. That's a good list.
Continue next time. Yeah, see, not bad. It's fun. It's fun to do it.
Well,
So
now it's perfect because
now
I
we
don't
got
think we have a lot to talk about. These movies are going to be pretty quick. I
good.
think reviews, which is fine. We always say it's never the soul of our show. Uh,
Right. Not
why did I
anymore.
go
This is
Freddy? Oh, speaking of which, I watched that Dylan's New Nightmare, and
and
I heard some good things about it. I mean, Chris A.K. Scott said he liked it. He was not a fan of the New Nightmare at all. I thought the guy that played Freddy was good. The makeup was a little off. I made a joke about
he
it.
was too cheeky, wasn't he?
Yeah, too cheekbony.
Too cheekbony. Yeah.
And his eyes were sunken. But he did a good job with his delivery and whatnot. Again, the dialogue is gosh, it's horrible. Gosh, where the
Yeah.
fuck did that come from? It's not. It was not great. I thought everybody did a decent enough job as actors. It is a fan film. I just feel like there was not enough of it. I think they get to a point where if they're going to bring who you think they're going to bring back, that is going to be great. But it's a cliffhanger and it's just left there hanging. It looked way more video than a lot of these movies did. It's almost like they didn't shy away from the fact that it was digital. weird
Hmm.
because I feel like
Yeah.
now they've got enough filters. It was produced by Womp Stomp Films, which is now they're just producing, but it wasn't made by Damien, or who, not Damien, uh, whoever did the Never Hike Alone movies. Again, I can't remember his name, but another
Vincent
director.
DeSanti,
Yeah,
right?
that guy. It wasn't made by him, but it was made by
No, I
somebody
know
else,
that.
but under his production company. So yeah, I expected it to look decent, which it did, but it looked way more digital and video
Yeah.
than the other movies did. I thought that was odd because I'm not saying you have to filter the shit out of it, but there's enough to make it look and make it more like film would nowadays that we've seen.
Right.
So that was a bit of a surprise, but not a total waste of time. But it was good. It was all right. I went into the all right mode. So, they'd be like a
Okay.
6 out of 10.
All
I
right. All
decided
right.
that I've got to be a little bit more. My sixes have been so not evenly balanced where I'll give a six to something like not the crush, the craft, where I almost like shit on it the whole review or didn't even really have much say positively. I'd say I'll give it a six because I didn't want to uh, totally derail it for you. And then I'll give something that I've actually gone up from a six, or something that I actually like watching. A six to me, I guess, it has to evolve and will be something that is all right. I could check it out again, but I'm not necessarily going to check it out again.
There you
Uh,
go. That's what a six is to me. I don't regret my time with it. I probably won't watch it again, but maybe. And a 6.5 is an important one because a 6.5 signifies that I'm willing to watch it again. That's the
yeah,
difference.
that's a good that is a good differentiator for sure. And I'm going to start using five more as average, where I think
Yeah.
that I've started using six as that, where it only makes sense that that middle mark
Right.
is average. Like it's just, it didn't really, average film didn't really stand out above the crowd, and I probably will never check it out again. But anyway, let's get to these tonight. Why don't we start with 1981? And that one is Madhouse, as I'm bringing it up here.
Hey, let me
Uh,
ask you a question quick and
yeah,
interrupt you. Never hike alone. Hypothetically, could that count if you wanted to have that on your slasher list?
that's up to you if you want to put it on there.
It's not officially part of the Friday the 13th franchise.
I mean, it's a movie, so you're
It
putting
is a
Never Hike
movie.
Alone on there. You could say it's a movie. I'm going to tell you, it's not. I'm not going to have it on there. I'm
No, I'm
not.
not saying anyone is. I just thought of it now when we were talking about those
Well,
fan films.
I guess it's also part of a. It doesn't exist without the Friday the 13th series. So
Doesn't exist
it
without it, but right.
yeah.
So you would say
And
no. You think it's
I'm
fair to
going to say no.
disqualify it? Okay.
Absolutely.
It's not going to make it anyway.
Plus, it's a
So
fan. No fan films. No fan films can make it. That's another rule.
that's true. I think that's fair.
Fuck
Yeah.
them. I'm just kidding. Anyway, here we go. Madhouse from
Anyway,
1981, who I didn't even know about this movie until a few years ago. Also, original title calls There Was a Little Girl, possibly a better title. A woman is pursued by her murderous psychopathic twin sister in the days leading up to their birthday. Uh, and so, second time watch, I think 1.5 time watch for me. I think this came out on Shudder, if I'm not mistaken, a few years ago, and I thought I watched it, but when I rewatched it for the show, I'm like, I don't remember any of this.
you
So
watched the other Madhouse from '74, probably,
maybe or something, I don't know. But this, thank God for Tubi, because I had it was on Tubi, and that's where I watched it. And it was. I'll say this. You know how he was shitting on Craven last week, maybe a little too much for some.
Uh-huh.
Um, I just said his films just felt flat. They felt like they never, really didn't have any style. Maybe that was his style. Here's a movie that really doesn't have a lot of substance to it in the big picture, but looks amazing to me. And the framing,
Yeah.
the color palette, everything about it looked good. It
Mm-hmm.
just looked great. It had like a nice little thumbprint of artistic vision to it. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm surprised that like I've never really heard of this movie before. And it's good. I don't, it's, let me rephrase it. It's all right to good. That's where I'm going to come into. And I have no problem. I didn't regret my time with it. And I would probably watch it again. My problem is, I don't know if it makes much sense. I don't, this is where I need
Hmm.
you to help me. like, am I expecting some other level that really is just not there, and it's just the movie that we were given, or did I miss something in the narrative? Um, so that's my
Okay.
opening, and you let me know what you thought.
Well, I'll say this: it looks beautiful. I have the Arrow Blu-ray, and it looks really good. So if anybody's interested, get this one. It's yeah, it's fantastic.
Nice.
I did have a question or two at one point, but when the reveal happens, I'm like, okay, that is why. That explains it. The only knock I could see somebody having is the fact that we never actually got an explanation. We got somebody starting to give one, and then it went into a joke mode. But ultimately, I don't think that has to matter. I mean, to some people, when they watch a movie, they need that reason. But I look at it like I look at real life. People just sometimes go crazy and kill and do
Yeah.
things, and who
What
knows
happened to
where it
Crazy?
began. And so if you're complaining, if that's your chief complaint because he didn't explain the actions of everything, then I say I lightened up on that. Anything else, like there was a time when I was like, well, wait a minute, why is the dog involved?
Yeah,
And how could
that
the
was one of my
dog,
things. Yeah,
if you're in the hospital for this time and I don't know how long,
yeah,
how would you still have the dog? And but then because of the reveal and who's
yeah.
involved, I'm like, okay, he could have had the dog. He's with her. He knows her. He
Well,
could have kept it for her. So because of that, that worked for me. But that was my problem. Was
so
of all things, how would the dog be in her life?
yeah, and you know what? You helped me there too because I was and there's going to be spoilers, folks. So if you
Yeah, I know.
haven't seen this movie, go check it out, whether you own it or and you just are one of those ones that keep it in the package and don't watch the ones you buy, which people do. Watch it or check it on a Tubi. It may still be on Shutter. If again, I haven't had Shutter for a while, but it was on Shutter, I think. I'm almost positive, unless it was Tubi where I started it. So it's on Tubi.
Hmm.
That's all I know. Uh, so the production value, all right away, had me intrigued. I liked it. The framing, composition, color palette, I mentioned all that already. The opening thing, that also seems like it's just thrown in there for a little bit like I'm talking about the credit sequence where there's a girl
Oh, I
rocking
love
and
it.
the twin
Yeah,
sister,
it's
and
creepy.
it's creepy, and it comes into them slowly, and then she
Yeah,
just starts bashing her head, a head which is bloody upon first before first impact even, but that's okay. I mean that's
it's a
just the
dream.
effects work. It's a dream. That's all it is, right? That's what I
Yeah,
wanted to find out. So it was a dream because they kind of like almost set it up like it's a memory, but obviously no one's deformed. We find out that someone's deformed, but it has nothing to do with
later.
childhood abuse. It has to do
Right.
with a disease
A
that just
disease.
happened to a
Mm-hmm.
viral infection that just happened to deform her. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, explainable, but I wanted a little bit of explanation. So it is just a dream sequence then at the beginning and nothing else.
That's what I took it as, or I just took it as a creepy credit sequence just to start off cool. Which back in the day they used to do that, and it was so much better. You don't
One
see that
good
anymore
sister,
like that.
one bad. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Uh,
My
the,
only complaint is the end. The nice final scare, but not thought out. And I don't know if you caught this because she walks out of the room. Her husband just stays in the room for some reason. Then she goes out, and a minute passes, and then we get a jump out. Problem is this: the her sister jumping out at her was already dead in the room where her husband is. So wouldn't
yeah.
she have had to go around the husband and get it, and then come around to do the jump?
Yeah, well,
Right. That's
it
my
was the
only complaint.
cheap scare tactic ending that they
Right.
did nine out of 10 movies that you watched,
I
possibly
know.
even 9.9 of the 10. Like, it
They
would
just should have
always
thought it
happen. It
out
was
better.
yeah, exactly.
That's all.
But so she's in a big house. There's a lot of atmosphere here. So I also like we get introduced to this character. We find out that we're leading up the 7 days to her birthday. It's sort of a cool lead up, and then she works with deaf kids or hard of hearing kids, and ultimately teaching them. And so she's attractive. B,
Yes.
you like her. They establish her as a good character. It's a unique setting. Her boyfriend's nice. There's really no shitty characters in this movie.
No.
And her friend is super hot, Helen or Ellen or whatever her name is, that comes over. What I don't understand is they don't really establish this house much. I guess it's a house that is like a triplex or has six apartments, and she's got one apartment to it. But so there's a
Yeah.
common area, right? So there's other people that live there. I'm assuming the Japanese,
Well, hold on.
like,
No, 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 no,
that's what
no.
I'm confused
Let me
about.
explain it. No, there's a
Okay,
sign on the door. Remember when you go in and the woman says there's a sign on the lead's door. Forget her name. Anyway, yeah, she is beautiful, by the way. And she
Julie, I
reminds
think
me
maybe.
so much of somebody else, the voice and the look, and it's not her, and it's driving me crazy
Is it
because I was
the
looking
is
her
it
up.
the entity? Because I was thinking, what has this woman been in?
Well, that's
And I looked
Barbara
at her
Hershey.
filmographer. I know, but I looked at the filmography of this woman, knowing she's got to be in something else. I know because she looked so
No,
identical, and it was
she looks
nobody. She was nothing
no.
in nothing
She
else
just
that I.
looks and sounds like another person. It's crazy and it's driving me nuts, but it's her, and I think
Yeah,
she's stunning,
yeah,
honestly.
she's
But
stunning, and so is her
wow,
friend that
yeah,
comes and gets
sure, I like
attacked
her
by the
friend.
dog. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that look of no like panties and no pants and just a
Oh,
long dress shirt. It's like I didn't
I like
realize I
that
loved it so
too.
much until I saw it in the movie. And I'm
It's
like,
like
yeah, I
me with
love
the
that look.
It's like
Yeah.
me with the what do you call it?
The
The
suspenders and nothing
the
under
gaiters.
the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That Mia
Uh,
solidified it after
yeah.
freaking. Who would have said that? I was praising it last year how hot I thought it was because of something we saw, and I want to say an Amityville movie,
You
and
saw
then of
Bill in
all
Friday the
people,
13th.
who Pill?
Bill. Yeah, Pill.
Oh
Pill.
yeah,
Yeah. You know that one character, the Pill in Friday the
yeah, Pill.
13th.
What a pill you are, right? And then Mia of all people pulls it out. I'm like, you
Yeah.
got it. It's like they heard me. The universe heard me to see my girl in that. Wow. Anyway, um,
So
what's that?
yeah, we're talking
Okay,
about the
so there was
house.
a
Yeah.
note.
Yeah.
There was a note on her door, and it says the only tenant that lives here is in this room. The landlady, because is living in the attic or something. It says
Okay.
so. In other words,
That
nobody
was the
else
only
is in
other
that
one in the house.
apartment complex. It's just an old southern
I
house,
thought I
is what
missed
it is.
something because I'm like,
Yeah.
A, why isn't anybody reacting to the dog? And then that would explain it, I guess. The
Uh huh.
landlady, like, because the dog's in that house, and because there's a lot of a dog attack kills as well.
Yeah,
So
this movie is
Ellen,
a dogger as much as it is a slasher. There's three dog kills.
yeah, I know.
It's a dogger
But there's
slasher.
knife kills too, but it's
I
crazy.
know, but damn, so many dog kills. I just and one of them we don't even get to see. The one I wanted to see the most. But anyway, although as much as I want to say that fucking cat thing was terrible, man, terrible.
Oh,
Not
well,
even
the
yes,
dog didn't get it. The dog was a bad dog because he attacked so many people, but
that was
he
great though.
gets it. He gets it. Like that sequence,
That was
the damn
awesome.
dog gets drilled in the head as it barrels its head. I'm not gonna lie. I laughed, but not like
Oh, I
a
loved it.
craven laugh where the girl dove out the window last week. But this, when that dog head came through the door, I laughed. But it was joyous because I was like, this is over the top. But for whatever reason, I like this. And then not
Yeah,
only does the dog head come through, the guy grabs a drill and then drills it into the dog's head to kill him. It was like I
it's
was like,
great.
oh man, that's
What is it with
great.
those Italians? The Italians
Yeah,
always have dogs in their movies. They love dogs, don't they?
yeah.
They're always
Well,
bad
they love
dogs
making
too.
them vicious, though. That's the thing.
They do bad
You
dogs,
wanted
and
a
the
little. You wanted
cats
to see the
too.
boy get killed with the dog, is what you're saying. I
Well,
just
of
clicked
course.
in.
How perfect would that be? Yeah, the only one we didn't see is the kid. Why not kill the kid? We killed the dog. We killed the cat. Kill
Yeah.
the kid too.
At this
And the
point,
cat,
why
I
not?
don't
That would have
mind
been
the
a 10
after
out of
effect.
10.
I don't mind the after effect of when we saw the cat hanging there. That's just
Yeah.
life. That happens. What I
Did it
minded
meow,
was,
or was it just the
oh, I
light?
don't know.
It didn't do a Halloween 5, did it? Where the dog barks as it swings. I think it was just the light. But there
I
was
don't
the
know.
creepy factor because it didn't matter because then you didn't. Isn't that right after that happened? You see the girl like coming down the avenue, like she comes right at them with a knife or something
I
like that. It was
think
really creepy.
yes.
Some great
But my
imagery there.
problem was picking up the cat. The way the freaking killer picked up the cat is very bad. He just grabbed it by the back of its head and picked it up out of the room. That they scruffed the cat and picked it up. I don't like that shit. I don't know
Oh.
what it is with Italians and fucking with animals, but we seem to see it a lot, and it's unfortunate. And that was a cool cat, man. See how nice that cat was? It was cool.
I was tell me it wasn't some guy in ADR doing the voiceover for the cat after. It's like I'm like, what the fuck is this? You didn't think that? I thought that for sure. Watch it again. It's no question.
Yeah.
And the, one of the things, the landlady being killed, no problem because it doesn't seem like she's attached to anybody. First off, that Japanese like guy,
He was great.
he was great,
Yeah.
great. Why is he married to Spock?
Huh?
How did you not see this? Why he comes out of the car with his supplies, and he's married, or his wife, or whoever he's with, it's fucking Spock.
It's a woman that looks like a man.
It was a woman that looks like Spock. How did you not? How am I?
Oh wait, that's not his wife.
Who is it then? Is it Spock? He's just traveling around with like the because if it's not his wife, then it's Spock through and through. Like if the
I
guy
don't think
wasn't
it was
coming
meant.
back from, no, it's just a hairdo and whatever. But he or she, whoever he's with, is Spock. I just thought it happened to be him. But I'm just trying to say, I believe he says he's
Wow.
married, yeah, because his wife was giving him a hard time or whatever. So he gets killed first, like one of the first, I think, first or second. And that's the only thing is no one's gone looking for him. Like he doesn't seem to be. I know but we are taking place over a 7 day period, so this might be like day
Right.
3, 5, or so. Like nobody's
Right.
looking for this guy. It's the only one of the only things, not the only thing, but one of the things that I found a little weird. That there was no mention, not even like a one scene mention that hey, have you seen
Hmm.
Mister Yamagati? Because I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Well,
And
it's funny
then
because they mentioned him even after he was dead. They said that the light was on in the thing. He must have left it on. They said
yeah,
something else. Someone else said something about it. So I guess he just comes and goes as he pleases. And they didn't know. I don't remember him saying he had a wife. He said he had a wife.
I thought that's what he was bitching and complaining about. Like, oh, but maybe I'm wrong. But then he's traveling with her, someone after, and I
Yeah, but
just
it was
assumed it was
somebody.
his wife.
I don't think I took it as I forgot what they were delivering, but that
Rice or
something was being
something.
delivered.
It just
Huh?
yeah, rice
Rice.
or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
It was in a big bag, but again,
But he was complaining about the driving, and then they said I just thought that I don't know. I never thought for a second it
but
was his wife. Maybe I don't
look
know.
who it is when you go back. Whoever it is a Spock impersonator. It looks
Wow,
like Spock from Star Trek through and
that's
through.
amazing.
I
Okay,
was
well,
laughing in my head. I'm like, what the fuck is it? First note. I go, why is the Japanese guy married to Spock?
weird. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta watch that again. How about the music? And I had to stop it and say, "Hold on, who is this?" Because I kept thinking of freaking Cannibal Holocaust with all those boom, 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 boom.
Boom, boom.
Because
Yeah.
that's the only other movie I've seen him in. Sure enough, I looked it up, and it's the
Tim?
same composer, Riz.
Oh,
Yeah, hold on. What the hell is his name?
it's like Harry Manfredini just does the same score over and over and over again.
Yeah, well, he's done a lot too. Hold on, let me look him up here because I had it. Okay, where's the cast and crew? Yeah, but his first name is Riz, and I think he has like 200 or 300 credits, something like that. It's crazy. Composer Riz Ortolani. So of course an Italian. Let's see. Filmography. Let's see what he has. Fucking 200 and okay. 239 as a composer. 401
Wow.
titles total. Yeah.
Jesus.
He even did some stuff in freaking what do you call it? Kill Bill and lots of Italian movies and everything. But I'm telling you, all I'm thinking of as I'm watching this is freaking Cannibal Holocaust. Because he did it so
Maybe he
much.
did that in Cannibal Holocaust or in Kill Bill. Whenever there's the dun, 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 yeah, that whenever she goes into like flashback mode for the split second before she whatever.
Well, if you listen to an album from 1991 to anyway, it's called Above the Law, and there's a song called Murder Rap, and it's the first track produced by Dr. Dre. Actually, that's where that noise comes from. And I always thought that when I watched Kill Bill. So check it out. But
Well,
anyway, what the hell?
yeah, the
Oh,
score was good. It was good. There was decent atmosphere
yes,
for
yes,
sure.
it
It's
was good.
just so they kind of the thing is they kind of head fake you. I guess you know it can't be so cut and dry. But so she meets her sister again. Hasn't seen her in 7 years. Obviously, she's diseased and has this disfigured face, and she's creeping. Wears a glove, and then we always get this little close up. So again, it's a visual close up for us because he's showing it to nobody but us, the viewer, that the killer's wearing a glove. So it's to throw us off as the viewer. There's no other reason for him to be wearing the glove because they don't establish that he's taken on her personality, right? And
Oh
then
shit.
so this is where I'm going with it. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's left with a big, huge question mark. We get a fake escape from the mental institution. So does she escape, or does he just help get her out? And he's he
Maybe.
planning a reunion for his birthday, for the birthday, and he's gone crazy. So the priest has gone crazy, but we don't know why. He's just gone crazy,
My
right?
guess is that he's always been a supporter of the sister. You know what I mean? Of the hospitalized sister, because he stays with her and he
Yeah.
sympathizes towards her more. And maybe they're just both crazy. Yeah. I guess that's just it. We'll never know.
And
And
so
so
he
be it.
holds the dog, holds the dog. The dog is now
Why not?
commanded to do the murderous doings of them, and it goes from there. And that's all that we really need to know. And so it's like a dual pack. 'Cause she kills too, right? We've figured out that she's murderous as
Well,
well.
yeah, yeah, because we saw her kill the first person. We saw her kill the Japanese man or the fucking or the girl. Remember, she's laughing while she's
Yeah,
doing it and
yeah,
she's
yeah, yeah,
stabbing him.
yeah.
Yeah. So, because this is when the reveal happens, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I know for a fact we saw the girl do the killing. So what's going on here? But
Also,
when you said the glove, I just figured something out though. There is a little unfair mislead. The girl is in the hospital
yeah,
when her sister comes to visit her. She has the gloves on in the bed. So
yeah.
her having the gloves, I figured made sense because she was sickly. Maybe she was covering her hands or something. Why would he wear the gloves?
Well,
See,
yeah,
that's a
because
problem.
that I thought he was doing most of the killing, but no, we're established that it's both of them. Or is he doing all the killing, and that's why they're wearing the glove? Because we only see
Well,
the
we
glove
saw
come
her do
around
it.
the banister. I know we do see her. That's why I'm saying
So
there's a little bit of a weird, like, to reveal him as another killer. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like it that he gets them
me
all
too.
around the table, "Happy Birthday to Me" style. The
Yeah, it
same
predates
year,
it.
"Happy Birthday to Me." No, well, the
Yeah.
same year it came
Well,
out.
yeah, but I looked it up. This was earlier in the year and filmed it earlier, and so either way, nobody
Yeah.
aped off each other. But this came out first, is the way I look at it. So,
But
but
you
nobody
get that,
talks about it.
yeah, you get that dead reveal around, which is always great, and I love that in slashers. I
Mm-hmm.
think we've both established that we're fans of that, and but yes, it's a little weird there, but I do like his crazy. I mean, he does play crazy well. I just love how he's like wants everything to be perfect, wants a blindfolder, and he's bringing the cake in. Oh, I forgot the cake. I'm gonna go back. Don't be careful and
Yeah,
everything.
it's great.
Brings her in, and then he opens up the cake, and the cake looks like it fell down like 10 stairs. It just it just looks like it's fucking destroyed. I mean,
Oh
it's
wow.
fine. It's just the way the icing looks. It's all supposed to be pristine, but it just looks like a messy cake.
I didn't even
I just
realize it. I
laughed.
was too
I just
sucked into
laughed because
everything
when he
else.
opened it up, I'm like, that looks like it's gone through the fucking ringer, the cake.
I didn't even realize the cake. I was so wrapped up in the moment of everything and the bodies and the reveal. And because when the reveal happens, I was taken by total surprise. The way it was portrayed throughout. I know that he was warning her in his sermon in church when he was talking about fathers and sisters and brothers and betraying your sister. And he was like looking at her. I'm like, this is getting personal. And then she said something. She goes, interesting sermon she told him. But then I thought the reveal was going to be that he was their father. Because she said, I never knew my father. And he mentioned fathers and daughters and everything else. So I thought he was going to say that he is the father of both twins and
Well, it's almost like
whatever.
they allude to it, but they don't give you that clean cut. So he's just some crazy uncle, and they never kind of mention what happened to them. Like the mom is out of the picture, dead or whatever, but they
I
really
think
don't
he
talk
is
to.
the father. You know
Yeah,
why? Because he sings all those freaking nursery rhymes. It's something you would sing to children.
yeah.
Maybe that's what they're getting at, and they fucked up and didn't say it. I don't know why. I wish he just would have come out and said it. By the way, do you call it hey diddle diddle or hi diddle diddle? He's singing a hi diddle diddle. I've
Oh,
never heard hi.
I've always thought it was hey diddle diddle,
Me too, but he kept saying
hey
hi
diddle
diddle
diddle,
diddle. Yeah, hey diddle diddle. Okay, so we're on the same page. Okay, just
which is
making
what he did
sure.
to a few altar boys too.
Nice. Hi, diddle diddle.
Yeah.
That's why he said it. Hi, diddle.
Yeah.
Wow. Listeners, weigh in. Does anyone say hi, diddle diddle?
Wait.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All in all, but
Here's a
still,
great
even
line
with the
though.
goofs, even with the goofs, I liked it. Like, I mean, liked it
No, it's
enough.
great.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it's cool. It's interesting. It's I like the. I just wish there was, you know, less dogs and more regular kills. But
Yeah.
whatever. We get stabbings and stuff. We get the story about that boy. By the way, a boy named Sacha. There you go. Back to that.
Yeah.
That conversation they once
Told
had.
you.
That was the boy. Poor kid. He was a good
And,
kid. I didn't want to see him die, but I did because
yeah.
he was
All
a
the kids, all the
so
kids, it was good. You felt bad for
yeah.
the,
Yeah.
before you go, did you know this existed? Like, do you remember this from back in the day?
I
Or was
watched it
this
the
like,
first time. I watched this movie. I want to say for Year of the Slasher the first time. Um, I think
but were
not
you made
knowing
aware
that
of this way back when? I don't recall this being in the video store. I don't remember hearing about this movie
as far as a
or anything
video
else.
store, no, but I
Or like
keep
just,
saying that in the 80s and all the video stores I go to, we really didn't have Italian movies there. They just
yeah,
weren't
but
there. Even
this one
Suspiria
wasn't.
wasn't there.
Am I wrong? This wasn't dubbed. This seemed like everybody
No,
was. It's like country was Italy, but it seems like everybody
agreed.
was speaking English in this. Like this
You're
was
right.
just, yeah. It wasn't like the other ones where there's like one actor that might speak English, others that speak
Right.
Italian. They do the dubbing after. It seemed like this was English spoken throughout.
Right. I
But
agree.
yeah,
I was thinking to say that too. It didn't seem like it was dubbed. So maybe this director didn't do it that way.
but
It was filmed in the
oh,
South, but then again, I want to say Fulci filmed in the South too. So I don't know. I don't know. Right? They had to be the
but
South when they did the Beyond, right?
but this is what it's like an artistic, somewhat artistic vision. Like everything happening behind the camera and that we see visually was well above average. Like it looked great and it
Yeah.
had a visual style to it. And I guess that's what I was trying to articulate like last week is just like there's again maybe the use of anamorphic, but it's not just that. It's there was more to it. It just looked like a
Mm-hmm.
better movie. Um,
Definitely looked
and more
great.
cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I could go along with the silly here, but there's a few things unexplained, but definitely more enjoyable than I was like expecting. And like I said when I started, I thought I'd at least watch this possibly for Year of the Slasher, and not knowing about it beforehand. But then when I watched it again, I was like, this is I don't remember a thing, a thing.
I didn't remember much, but I remembered some. But I totally forgot the last kill that we see. That was the shocker when he shot her. I was like,
Yeah,
holy shit. Why that? I was like, he's really off his lid. And he really does have a really good, creepy laugh. I liked him. There's only one little complaint. This whole movie, it could have been 15 minutes shorter, and they could have completely omitted the husband. There was no need for him whatsoever in the movie.
the
If you
boyfriend.
think about it. Yeah, whatever. Yep.
I kind of like
He was going, he
I know
was
what you
coming,
say.
she was
I
going to
think it was
go
just
with
a
him.
it was
It could have
it's
been her living
establish
alone.
another level, establish
I
another
guess.
level of a boy. But I didn't mind it. But you're right. I mean, and he's going off to the airport. Then he has to come back. They give a reason. I hear what you're saying.
Back and
Again,
forth.
I didn't have too much of a problem with the pace of this because this is
No,
only an
no,
hour and a
no.
half. But I mean,
True.
um, but you're not incorrect. They didn't give him a lot of weight. Well, but they have a relationship with doctors, so they get some of the story out that way too. But I guess you could have just seen a psychologist or a psychiatrist
Yeah. There was just too
instead.
much
But
time wasted in the plot with, okay, I'm going with you. Now I'm not going to go. Now I'm staying. Now he's going. Then he comes back early. But there was just all this dialogue that really had nothing to do at all with anything. Why not just have her living alone from
yeah,
jump? And then the movie's so much easier without that extra stuff. But I don't
true.
know. Maybe you could have got a better explanation from the killer if that were the case. There is one line that I love. And the girl says, most people's nightmares end when they wake up. Mine begin. That's freaking great.
Yeah,
That was the sick girl. I love that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was
man.
good.
Good shit. Yeah, there
Yeah,
should have been a freaking. There should have been the what do you call it? The tagline on the cover of the box. You know?
that is a good tagline too.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
I'm 6.5 because, like I said, there's a few things
Oh,
that weren't answered, but I enjoyed my time. I'd go back and watch it.
Yeah, me too. Look, 6.5.
Awesome.
We're
Yeah,
on board.
but it's
Okay, now
definitely
I'm
worth
so
checking out.
glad. I'm so glad the movies that won because I wanted to talk about this one because this is going to be the next one featured on my Jay of the Dead's thing because I'm going through the slashing of the 80s and I want to talk about the first foreign slasher. And I'm not talking in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Obviously not
Okay.
ever, but the one that followed up after Friday, etc., which started it. Oh, sorry to say that again, but anyway. So Madhouse. So I wanted to highlight that. So now I can talk about it there. I got my fresh notes and fresh thoughts. So now the other one, Hills Run Red, I was really hoping was going to win because I had a problem the first time I watched it. And everybody seemed to love the movie, and I was like, well, maybe I'll watch it this time and I won't have the same problem, or if I do, somebody could help me in a discussion, lead me in the right direction. So that's why the ones that I wanted to win won. So I'm happy about it.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad too because I really wanted to watch this again, and I enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed my time with it. And so here it is, The Hills Run Red from 2009, directed by Dave Parker, but not the Dave Parker we've
Yeah,
had on the show.
too bad, huh?
The
Imagine
Dave
that.
Parker on the show could do more push-ups. That's a direct quote.
And he has a bigger dick.
And possibly, we don't know that for sure though.
I'm just gonna
Um,
say
A group
it.
of young horror fans go searching for a film that mysteriously vanished years ago, but instead find that the demented killer from the movie is real, and he's thrilled to meet fans who will die gruesomely for his art. And it was, it was. I remember when this came out, and I can understand why now because it looked like it had some production value and a production team behind it. It was a Warner Brothers direct-to-video release. If it's
Hmm.
David Shaw, like who's got some weight, like he's been part of the horror world and community, and he's written some other things. He wrote it, uh, which is weird because there's some parts of that I'm not on board with. They sell it well enough. Again, acting's decent enough. I'm not a fan of the editing style in this. The slash cuts, definitely a sign of its times. It takes a note from maybe the Saw series there, with its the flashes. You get it right from jump. Your favorite saying, where it's right in the credit sequences, but it's just not my style. I like it a little
Fair.
bit more subtle. But okay, I'm willing to let it go. It's gory, even with the CGI gore. There's enough practical that keep things going, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I do have questions as well with this. Uh,
Okay.
and so that will be again. I'm trying to just do a little introductory thing where it
No,
feels
that's
like I'm
good.
spilling my load, but I'm not 100%.
No, I like it too. I do like it. I love the idea. There's some really good ideas here as to the old film and what's going to happen. We're searching for it. It's real. Like I really love like the first 45 minutes. I'm quite into it. It's a cool story. It's a really good idea. Like I keep saying, it has good elements. Uh, it. Oh my God, Alexa! Holy
Yeah.
my lord! Oh my gosh, how hot is this woman? Oh my God, those lips, oh, unbelievable. But I will say this: as beautiful as she was, and everything else, one of my little complaints is that the fact that she cleaned up overnight. She has no right after, obviously no one just does heroin when they get home from
Or
work right
that's not
away.
just an
if
act, right?
if
Like that wasn't all an act
how
to
could you're
lure
gonna
him in.
shoot fucking heroin in you? How can you act that?
Placebo.
Maybe it's a placebo, but she did coke right away. She could have been faking that. I don't know. I guess maybe if
Just
she's
like
acting all
in the
that, but
faculty.
she still burned it up. She still burned up the
Yeah,
spoon with the junk. So I'm thinking
it,
nobody that is like a casual user of heroin, if such a thing exists, does it as soon as they get home with someone they just met right in front of them. So the way I look at it, this girl has to be some type of junkie. She's doing coke right away. She gets home. She's shooting up fucking smack. Nobody goes from being a junkie of that magnitude to looking like she walked out of a fucking a fitness magazine because she's so beautiful the next day, just because, and then just can credit the guy with, and she tells her boyfriend 2 days later, "Oh man, I was in a real bad place when I first met him, but he helped clean me up." And I'm like, that's like fucking 2 days ago. You're gonna
I
tell me
know.
you kicked all this stuff? Now it's a bit of a nitpick. Fine. It's just something I noticed, but
Well, it's movie
I like the
timing. You're right. It would have had to have been like weeks or whatever, and it's literally
right.
they condensed that stuff. We nitpick on it. They dwell too long on it, and then we nitpick on it if it's too short. In this case, it was too short. I agree.
Hmm.
Um, some of my things are. Is this guy a master of horror because he made one movie that barely anybody saw? I mean, that part, don't say he's a master of horror, just say he made like one slasher
Well,
film that could be considered the scariest, but it was pulled so quickly. And now this intrigue of finding who this is because he disappeared after. Like it's all there, but I feel like they dwelled upon him being like the master of horror. And then even in his speech at the end when he's trying to win him over, he's like names all the greats and he goes, "I could put your name up there," because the guy hasn't even seen the fucking film yet.
I figure you're trying to manipulate him at that
Well,
point,
he
but
is,
still,
but it's just
but he knows that the guy in his mind is a legend. See what I'm saying? The guy talks about it, but I'll say this: the kid. Think about how fandom is. Okay,
he
if
was
somebody,
me and looking after Wes Craven back in the day.
right, exactly. Now look
Looking
at
for
you.
Wes.
No, but think about it. If somebody made a horror movie that only played once and then they pulled it and they said nobody else can see this movie, it will go down in infamy. And just because of that, and because apparently the guy is so outspoken, because we saw interviews with him too, right? So you can access interviews
That
with the director. So
exactly.
hold on
That's
now.
what's even weirder.
Yeah, but this is why. Think about it. This happened now. You don't think that freaking horror fanboys now, real
Absolutely.
cinephiles, would say the same thing that this kid's saying? Oh, this guy's a master of horror because he made something so scary that freaking they couldn't show it again. And when you hear him talk, he really articulates things well. I think people would just steamroll with that and say, okay, this guy's something really special because of that. People are, especially
Yeah.
obsessed fans, and this guy's another obsessed
Yeah.
fan. No
Okay.
one's ever been able to see the movie, so I just think, and again, he's also trying to sell his documentary. So he's trying to make a documentary on doing this. So there's things at play here. But I agree with you. Of course, he wouldn't be considered a master of horror, but it's just
And
crazy fandom.
no one could find this guy. He's just a house in the woods. I get it that they're secluded and
Well,
you gotta find it. It just feels weird that like what is it supposed to be like 25 years later, almost 30 years later, no one's been able to find him all this time.
yeah. Well, I guess internet's new and it's tough, and maybe people have found him, just not the horror fanboys, just not the people that are looking for him. So I don't know, but I mean, we needed the daughter to take him there. And that was the whole thing. They go, maybe if I look, she has a daughter. Let me go meet this daughter, and maybe she can bring me to him.
So
So
what was this is where I get confused because again I didn't I watched this last night and then I was like, oh, I just wanted to watch the beginning of Madhouse to see if I forgot, like if I missed anything. Uh, and I still didn't see that note on the door. I don't know if they show that later or not. Anyway,
they show
where I'm
that
going with it
early.
though is like the end. What was the end goal? Like they want to make a documentary. They want to find this film and find it, and he wants their end goal was to see the movie. What was the
Well,
end goal
sure.
of the daughter and the filmmaker and Babyface? To finish it? Like if it's not finished, or to make the next one? I don't know because they finished it. It was in theaters and it got
That's what
pulled
I thought.
from theaters. So I'm confused at what their end goal is because they're
I
starting to
agree.
film it and I don't know what that point is because the movie's
I
done.
agree. The movie was
So
done because it played in. Yeah, I guess I don't know why they said finish. You should have said made a sequel or something. I don't know. But here, this begs this question again. Okay, when we find out later on that the director killed the simpleton that was playing Babyface and took on the role in one scene, what did he say right after when they showed us that scene? They said, I can't be on both sides of the camera. So then
yeah,
how the fuck was the movie finished the first time when it was played in 1982?
I think
It
he
was,
said his 13-year-old daughter directed it. That's what I thought she said. That he made her run
oh,
the camera. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That part I got. That part I got.
oh, I
I
didn't know
can't.
that. Well, okay,
That's
thank you.
how he brought his daughter into it, and that's what's even creepier that he instilled this into his 13-year-old daughter, which is why
And
she's all
then,
fucked up, and is the
wow,
father of Babyface, meaning his
right,
incest with his daughter.
right.
which is gross,
Exactly.
but I mean, it's a horror film and whatever. But
And of
that's
course, and that would make sense that she would, because of this lifestyle, she would become a freaking stripper junkie. You know what I mean? She would be away and she would do, but again, she's still in cahoots with her old man. But she probably has issues she has to deal with. So the old man takes care of the kid. Apparently, she doesn't
yeah.
live there. She lives somewhere else.
Well,
You know what I mean? So it's the
that's
two
the
of them living
mom.
their
And
life.
but how old is she supposed to be? Because these are all 20 something year olds. And so if she had them at
Probably 25.
13, well, no, but if I had them at
Then the kid's too
13,
young.
and just
Right.
12. That's what I was trying to think of the age. So she's got to be at least 30.
Okay, so she's 30.
Because
That's fine.
is he supposed to be 18? Is he supposed to be 15? Like, we don't really get an idea, but he does. It's really creepy when he's all, because he looks all chewed up and you see a jaw exposed or underneath, whatever,
Yeah.
the mask. And then he's like, you can sing all you like if you think that's going to help or something like that. That was creepy.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
that
part.
was so weird that he
Yeah.
spoke. I know.
Yeah.
I thought something more was going to come out of it, but then it didn't. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fucking. So how old was it? Her name is Sophie Monk. My lord. She was born in 1979. So by the time this movie comes out, what year is this movie? There you go. 2009?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
She's 30, right?
So she is 30. So why can't she be 30 in the movie? Okay, there you go. So she's
Well,
30.
she's 13 though when they make the movie, so we don't have to worry about a real age.
So
In the
82
movie,
to 2009? Okay.
yeah.
92.
Well, I guess that's it. So that's fine. So she's just playing she's playing a character that's essentially 9 years older than her age,
Well,
which
yeah,
is
you said
fine.
that she's older than
It's
she
acting.
looks.
Yeah, it's
They say
acting.
that.
It's
Yeah.
that's all fine. It just I wasn't sure what they're trying to. I wanted to make sure the timeline. Remember what movie was it? It's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation,
Oh,
where they just
stop
fuck
it,
it up
man.
with the iPhone versus the dates on the
Oh, you mean Texas Chainsaw 3D? That one?
3D. That's what it meant. Next Generation
Yeah.
3D, where they
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
up the timeline. I'm like, you guys didn't have to do that. You could easily.
Right.
But anyway, they fucked it up. So the I'm fine. I'm willing to totally let that go. I just was like, so she's
There's still
13
other stuff.
she's 13 when she has the kid, and so like yeah, so the kid just has to, time has to go on. So the kid's like, because the kid looks like
Yeah.
he's an adult running
Yeah.
around, but so they've just been living in the woods peacefully all this time, and I guess you're supposed to get the idea that she hasn't totally abandoned them, that she's been back.
Right.
We just don't know
Right.
that until she says fetch, and then
Right.
and then
Well, here's
actually
the
is
thing.
bad. Yeah.
I saw that coming. Did you see that coming?
I just knew something was up. I didn't remember the
Yeah.
movie from when I first watched it, to be honest. So I don't know if it was just maybe floating around in the back of my head from that viewing, but it had
Mhm.
been so long because it was probably whenever it got released in 2009 that I saw it.
Right. So I saw that coming. And these are my old notes. So it was the first time I saw it, I'm referring to. I saw that coming. I didn't see some things coming earlier. I didn't see that there was going to be cheating between those two for no reason. And then I didn't imagine that our lead, who seems like a really nice guy, was going to tie her up freaking when he first meets her to come back to get her to freaking to listen to him. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought the movie was going to go in a different direction because I forgot this time around. I'm like, oh, so he's a bad guy? He's not a bad guy, but he's willing to push freaking these buttons, and now he gets what he deserves. But anyway, so that
Well, he
was
was
a
so
surprise.
obsessed. He was so obsessed that he ignored his girlfriend, and his girlfriend is
Right.
hot to trot. So she just went with the next best friend, the
Right.
best friend that showed a little bit of like physical contact and, and an emotional connection. And then boom, that was like, because they established that at the beginning. At least they established it. Like, you're gonna come back. I'm
Yeah.
naked under here. You're gonna come back to bed. I had no problem with that. They established her want, and you could see his obsession with the film. Again, done well enough. A couple exchanges of dialogue done. She's going back. Okay, I'm going to go back again. He's like, just a little longer, which means that she's not going to bed. She goes back to bed, unsatisfied, whatever, because she wants that connection, not getting it. So she goes to the friend. I can get that.
Oh yeah, I can get it.
And
It
his
just took me by
obsession with this
surprise.
film. Yeah, I know it's not something you usually see, and his obsession to the film leads him to where it is. I do feel it's weird. I almost think they needed another element of the script, that they pulled the movie from the theater because maybe it made people go crazy or something, because he has that whole in the mouth of madness ending when he's watching the movie, and I'm like, that was not established at all. Like, where he's like just laughing maniacally at the
Well, there's
film
issues.
as he's watching.
Yeah, there's
Like,
more
it seems
issues
like
than
just
that, but that's one. Yeah.
like they just throw like again, it's like throwing spaghetti, like the old Cravenism last week. What's going to stick here? But I almost like they could have gotten rid of it. Like it got pulled because people. It was not only just so gory, but it was so gory that it was actually like the film itself was making people go crazy or something. So they had to turn it down. And that who
Yeah,
knows,
they've
that could
done
have
that
led.
before, though. That's been done before. I'm glad they didn't go. That it made them go crazy. That's done like two other
But,
times.
but just in a mouth of madness, and he did make him go crazy
Well, no, it's
at the
cigarette
end.
burns. The other one, another John
Okay.
Carpenter, by the way. But we've seen that before. This one it got pulled, and there was no massacre. It just got pulled. Then they did it later. Yellow Brick Road, I think, did it. Antrim may have done it. But we've seen movies that have been played once and people went mad from it. This time it just got pulled because it was too violent. So I kind of like that they didn't do that because I've seen it in other movies.
But
But
then what makes
go
him
ahead.
go crazy then?
What makes who go crazy?
Well, why is he laughing maniacally at the film as if he's gone mad from watching it?
Who's doing that at the end?
The
Who's
main
doing it?
character, the main kid. He's forced
Oh,
to watch the movie that he's wanted to see, and it's like he's laughing maniacally. Is it because he finally gets to see the movie he wanted to see, or it's because it's
yeah.
driven him to madness?
That this is what it took. So it's almost like a mocking laugh, like a fucking what's the word for it? Like when you laugh at something, like an ironic laugh. You're like, this is what I wanted all this time. This is what I had to do to get it. Yeah, now I get to see the movie. It's almost like laughing at himself and fucking what he's gotten himself into. You know what I mean? I lost my girlfriend. We're dead. I'm gonna die. This happened. This happened. I get to see the movie I wanted to see so badly. So I think he's almost like he snapped. You know what I mean? He's laughing about the whole irony of the situation.
And then the baby. So the movie came out. When was the baby born? And why? And again, why did the baby get turned into baby face? But the movie already existed. You know what I mean? Like there's other things like Babyface is in the movie. We find out that the actor couldn't do it, so the director did it, made the daughter film. We've established all that, and it's gone to the theater, was pulled from the theater, and became this obscure middle mess. Why is there a real Babyface now running around in the in the forest? We find out was their kid that they had together that cut off his own face.
Mm-hmm. Because he wanted to become like baby. Well, obviously he's not right. He's a child of incest. Both of the fucking parents are wackadoos. And freaking, what do you
So
want?
he just wanted to be Babyface. He wanted to become it. Did they explain that, or is it just
You,
what were presented? Like it just seems like so he created himself as Babyface, the character in the movie that no one's seen.
maybe to be more loved by his fucking father or grandfather or whatever.
I know he
Maybe
talks
it would
about
have
he
felt
did
right.
it himself. Like he went in and
Right.
they say that we did it or whatever. Like no, he did it himself, and
He
then
probably got obsessed with the movie. They probably watched the movie all the fucking time. This movie is their whole life. And it's a big deal to this guy and his son who's there. So it's probably it. They're fucked up people. That's all I took it as. He's another one. He's a child of incest. He's probably not right mentally. And you know what I mean? He identified with his babyface character because maybe the parents loved him so much. You know what I mean? Because it meant so much to especially to the father. So I could see that. If they're all crazy in the family, then why not? You know what I mean? Especially the father. So I don't know. See, that's not the stuff that bothered me. But I'll say this. I didn't like the fact that the girl was a hypocrite. And I can't stand people that do that. That she did the cheating the night before, yet
oh
she is fucking coming on him,
yeah
coming at him, saying that he cheated. I cannot stand. I've been with people this way in my lifetime that they commit crimes. You're
yeah
an innocent person, and then they chastise you for doing something that they were the ones that did it. I don't know
yes.
what that is
That's
called.
well, it's guilt. It's
Well, it's awful.
yeah,
It's awful to do that. No, so
it's just
that's
awful.
abuse.
Yeah.
When you do that to somebody that is an innocent person, because it's been done to me. It's bullshit. And I think
It
there's
sounds like gaslighting, but is that what now gaslighting
I
being
have no
referred to?
idea.
I get all confused with all these, but it's like yeah, it's essentially like yeah, it is abuse. It's yeah, whether it's passive aggressive or just aggressive, I guess. It's not even
Yeah.
passive, but she's
Well,
shitting on him for doing exactly what she did.
I hate that. Other people have done that to me in my life too. It's always driven me nuts. Like, I didn't even think to do that. You're the one that would do that or did do that, and you're giving me shit for it. It's some type of, there's got to be some type of psychological, clinical fucking word for it. I just don't know what it is, but it's got to be something. Either way, that pisses me off. And then how about the kid says to the girl, he goes, "Oh, I think he knows." And I'm like, based on one night before he fucked her, you think that he knows today? Were you all
Yeah,
over each other in the back seat?
yeah.
If it was an ongoing thing, but she right away said it was a one-time thing.
And they
Now,
don't even,
it would have been
and then
better
they're
if it
hugging.
was something.
Then why sleep beside each other at the
I
campfire?
know.
It's so like that's
That's
film. That's where the film is trying to take liberties to try to progress the story along and use visuals there. But it wouldn't have happened if it was a one-time thing and they
no.
were so adamant about it. They wouldn't have even been close to each other sleeping. One would have been in one tent, one would have been in the other. But they've got to click this movie along, so I think they're doing it like that.
Okay. Well, I haven't even gotten to my real complaints yet. The stuff that always bothered me from the beginning. I haven't even talked about
Shoot,
that
let's
yet.
do it.
Number one, how would they have film stock of the stuff that was shot in a strip club? First and foremost, if you're shooting something inside of a fucking back room in a strip club with those cameras, it's going to be video, if anything, or digital in 2009. They're not
Absolutely
shooting that
right.
with film. How the fuck would
Well,
they
that
get it?
camera was a
Stupid.
video camera. Like even if
Yeah,
it was
I
just a
know.
thing that they could put a film camera in, like to get the equipment there, that is stupid. That is stupid.
See,
I
okay,
didn't,
that's
and I
the
was looking
first
at
thing.
that too. I'm like, that's unless they took video and they transferred it to film, but
Well,
which
how
you
could
could
they have done
do.
it that quick?
Yeah,
Well, unless they
exactly.
own the club.
Yeah,
Unless he's the owner of the fucking strip club and he was there and he did
yeah.
something. But people love this movie, and I just keep seeing these plot holes. And I'm like, how does people not see this? So now there's
People
that. But
love it. I thought it was like kind of like no different than most slashers, kind of like right in the middle.
no, it's like if you ask people for a hidden gem slasher, this is the one that'll come up. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting.
People like it.
Yeah.
Look at Letterboxd and see what pieces. There's like 4 stars, 4 stars, 3.5. People are quite into
I
it.
think
So
because it
now,
brought the gore back, but I mean, thank you Saw because it owes more to Saw than it does to like I think slasher and a lot of
and they
times.
knock Saw too almost. So like that's just
Yeah,
torture. It's like old school versus new school. I kind of
yeah.
like what they did there, and I do like the editing and the cuts like that, because I don't want to say it's nostalgia, but I guess it is. It's for that time period, and I liked it. So it's always gonna take me to that time, and I liked it then, so I still like it. But anyway, now here's the real problem. Okay, that's just one little thing. This is the thing that bothered me the first time I saw it when we did Year of the Slasher 1. How could this stuff happen? Okay, when it's revealed that she's in on it and everything else, they literally show a picture of her walking up to the hillbillies at that place, giving them money and giving them a shotgun. They're all right fucking there together, the four of them, driving in a car in the parking lot together, having a discussion. When would she have had a shotgun? And when would she have been
I
able
thought
to?
she just gave them the money. Did she give them a shotgun too?
She hands them the gun. They show it. Okay. And even if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm wrong, but even if I'm wrong, when would she have time to approach them in that parking lot, stuff
Yeah.
money into their pocket, explain what she wants them to do? Because think about it, you got to explain, we're going to be around this spot. I want you to show up and
Yeah.
do this and pretend you're going to attack us. And what are you even selling? Don't they know that they're going to fucking, what was the end game supposed to be? And then you're going to rape us? You know what I mean? Because they were all wrapped up, but like,
No,
so
she
I
knew that she
understand
knew Babyface was going to come to save them, but yeah.
she knew. I get that. What are they thinking is going to happen? What?
Yeah.
How did she sell it to them?
Yeah,
You get
come
what I'm
over
saying?
and rape us. Yeah, you're
Makes
right.
no fucking sense. No sense that it pissed me off since the first time. I'm like, how dumb do you think your audience is? So they literally show that, and that happens. Then later on, the fucking guy, the father, shoots his fucking daughter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we see her a
There's
scene later, and she
a
comes
lot of
out.
gun kills, actually.
Okay, then we see her a fucking minute later when we thought she was dead, but she wasn't dead. She comes back with a fucking white t-shirt on, fucking dry as a bone. Not one fucking piece of blood on her, not showing that one thing has happened to her. Like literally fucking nothing happened. It's worse than what we saw in that last Scream movie when I said they came back fucking from the thing right away from the hospital without a limp, like nothing. This was worse. This was like a minute later, and she just got fucking fucking shot. She got shot and the kid got upset and killed the guy. So we
Yeah.
know it happened. She comes back a minute later with a jump and comes in and fucking explains, oh, this is my movie. Now she's torturing this guy. Not a speck of fucking blood, a scratch, nothing is on her. Or fucking filmmaking.
Well,
Sorry.
it's cheats. And what about what's
Yeah.
her face? That yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm watching it again. She passes him a gun and puts money into his pocket, a fucking
See?
shotgun. That
Fucking
is
stupid.
that's taking it a little too extreme.
Dude,
That's crazy. But
bad writing.
the other thing is when the other girl, the girlfriend or the one that cheats and gets mad, she hides herself in a barrel of blood, a barrel of blood, and then comes out of it, which is kind of a cool reveal. It's like the old Descent
Uh-huh.
thing where she pops up and she's covered in blood red, and then comes out, tells herself off. I get it. She pulls. Why did I just go out? I guess she didn't want wet clothes or whatever, but she pulls this fucking dirty, gross shirt off a dead corpse that's hanging in the room. It's a gross, it's dirty as shit and sitting on a dead person. And she pulls that off to change into, to leave,
Wow.
just to be dry, I guess.
Wow.
I'd rather
That's
be,
crazy.
as long as I'm covered. And she comes out and she looks like, the next scene when she comes out, she's in that gross fucking tank top and barely bloody. Like, at least I get it. Like, she wiped herself down and whatever, but come on, have a little bit of continuity. It's just the same sort of thing. Like it's one extreme to the other there.
So there
But
you have it.
I'm nitpicking there, whereas like your points are valid. Valid.
Yeah,
I don't hate the movie
don't get it.
for it, but it's
I don't
sloppy.
hate it,
It's
but I don't
sloppy.
love it as a
Yeah.
result. It's bad. I'm not going to give this movie a fucking 8 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 when you have stupid fucking writing like that, and which could have been done so much better. They could have explained it so much better because the premise of the movie is great, and even the character stuff and the build up. Like I said, the first 45 minutes, everything's cool. Then we get there, and when the things happen, that's cool too. We get gory kills. It's good. I enjoy it. But when it comes time to explain everything, whoever wrote it just fucking, it's insulting. Okay, well, let's just say, okay, how about this? She's in on it because she gave them a gun and and money at the gas station when they were all there. What? That's the best you can come up with? Get the fuck out of here. And a couple. So I don't understand why people rate this movie so high and call it a gem. I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
So
Again,
I don't dislike
I
the
think
movie.
it's the slickness and the gory brought back to the slasher. And at the time, it was just slashers were sort of becoming hot again when it probably because of like if they said Saws and Hostels were out, maybe we can do this slasher because we had Friday the 13th, My Bloody Valentine remakes both coming out that year, and then this seemed to get a lot of buzz. But I can't disagree with you. But again, to me, this was this is a 6 out of 10.
Me
I
too.
liked it. I
What the
could
fuck?
watch it again, but I don't never after actually see. Oh, look at
6.
you. We're
We're
right
right
on
on
point.
par, brother.
Yeah.
See, a 6 isn't a bad movie. But again,
Yeah.
people talk about this movie like it's, oh, you really got to see it if you like slasher. That's a hidden gem. I'm like, well, I wish it would have been. It started off, it's got a great premise, got this, but listen to what I've just said, people. Because even Christian didn't notice this.
And a
But I
hidden
noticed it
gem.
both times.
And a hidden, well, I mean, the film stock is just, when you said it, I'm like, yeah, how did I not go like that? That's just fucking ridiculous. But a hidden gem is all relative because, yeah, if I had never seen this before, I'd be like, hey, I enjoyed my time with it. But it's not up there. Like, it's all relative to where you want to rack the hidden gem. Like an 8 or above would be something that's a gem. This is just good to check out if you're looking for, if you're a slasher fan and you hadn't watched it before.
For slasher enthusiasts, check it out. And I have a lot of 6 out of 10s out there that are not going to make my freaking top 50 even at this point. So, but yeah, they're fine. Check them out. I could sit here and probably rattle off 10 of them. 6 out of 10 movies that are worth checking out if you like slashers. But people elevate the movie. It's like, I just don't get it. Maybe now they'll hear this and like, oh yeah, how did I not pick up on that? I don't know how I picked up on it. That's what's so weird about me. I pick up on shit that nobody else
Just
does.
that.
And then all this obvious stuff, sometimes I miss and it's right in front of my face. I'll never be able to.
No, it's fine. Those are pretty valid. Those are pretty obvious, to be honest. Like it's a valid criticism. Like, I mean, I saw the money. I didn't realize, but yeah, she goes, Shotgun? A little money in the side. And it's not just it's like a wad of bills that she slips
Yeah,
aside.
dude.
Could be all ones. They probably got $20 out of the deal. Anyway,
Ridiculous.
6 out of 10. Are
Yep.
we going to randomize it, or are we just doing a BS show? Because I'm
Oh
okay to
yeah.
randomize it and
Well, wait a minute.
watch a couple more movies.
Oh, well, I guess we could. Let's do it. Randomize. Let's see.
And if B just wants to come on for the BS, if he decides he wants to come back,
Oh,
he can come on. That's fine.
true. Oh, I changed it. It was one to 161. Now I got to change it. That's what I've been using to decide what I'm going to watch. Okay. What is it? 1 in 30?
1 to 30, and then, like I said,
Okay.
there's a few that we've done already.
So 17.
But ooh, that would be me, and I
All
have
right
a
then.
feeling it's another director. Let me just see here. Where the fuck am I? Where's my list? I just did
Uh-oh.
what I thought I did the last time, and
I could
not
find it in
pop
our
it up.
chat like I did last time.
Well, I should have it. Hold on 1 second. There's the directors. Oh yeah, here we go. 17.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Fulci. Don't
Oh,
torture a duckling and Cat in the Brain.
wow. Okay. Don't torture a duckling and cat in the brain.
And I've been wanting to watch
Nice.
Don't Torture, so that's great. And not that I don't want to watch Cat in the Brain, but I had fond memories of Cat in the Brain when I watched it initially, one of his last, and then I rewatched it and I didn't like it as much.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm again, it will be another one that I'm looking forward to seeing again, and that was more of that was in the late '80s or very early '90s. I think he did Cat in the
Yeah, I
Brain.
think so. I've never seen it, so I've talked about the other one twice this year already.
Oh
So
no,
this will be the third time I'm watching it for a podcast. Yeah, don't torture a duckling. It's funny.
are you
Yep.
okay with that, or do you
Yeah, what are
want
you gonna
to?
do? You picked them, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm
It's
interested.
okay.
I'm interested in seeing it again. But the if you're tired of talking about it, man, I have no problem
Ah,
changing it up. I'll let you
what
know
else?
because I'll check out the Fulci catalog and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Fulci actually, if you think about it.
Well,
So,
we did the non-horror of his, and then
yep,
we did
the
the
trilogy.
Gates of Hell trilogy or whatever, and then
Uh-huh.
um, is that it?
Yeah,
It
maybe
might be.
that's it. That might be it.
Done a lot, damn it. Have we done New York Ripper though?
No, I don't think so.
And I realized what shocker I did Shocker on, or what shocker I did Shocker on. I realized where I did
Huh?
Shocker. It was Postmortem Radio. It was one of our first episodes, I think. I
Oh,
knew I talked
nice.
about it in a
Hello,
podcast. I'm like,
hello.
hello, hello, it's back again, which is gone. That it's not even on there because Oz never. He was on the Horrorphilia Network, and he never did the switch over and never reposted them anywhere. So those episodes are gone forever. I think.
Well, maybe you
Oh
can get him
well.
at Ozfest. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Anyway, so we'll see because then New York Ripper could be an opportunity,
Yeah.
and or Murder Rock or something else. So well, I'll keep you posted. Maybe we'll change them up like we did Craven, but I won't edit this time. We'll just see. But now that you watch Don't Torture Duckling, you've done it for 2 podcasts. I'm feeling a little less enthused because I don't want you to have to watch it
Oh,
again.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Maybe I'm thinking of New York Ripper. I watched twice. I
Don't Torture
did.
Duckley's from the '70s. New York Ripper's from the '80s.
Oh, I did Don't Torture a Duckling with once with 22 shots this year. That's what it was. I knew I did it once. That's what I get them confused because Don't Torture a Duckling and the duck thing in New York Ripper. That's what it is. You know?
Okay. Well, then maybe we'll keep it. We'll figure it all out. But that's where we stand.
Okay,
But that's
yeah.
it. Other than that, I've been watching a lot of I've been watching a lot of film noir, and there's an X amount that I was kind of wanting. I think I've watched 10 now, and I'm Jallo was the other one that I wanted to sort of hit any blind spots or revisit some of the other ones. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of nice as we're also watching slashers and new movies and whatever else.
Word. For sure. Cool, man.
Cool.
Well, that's it then. Well, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody. We'll
Thank you.
see you see you in October then, right? I don't even know what the fuck what shows are
No,
for what month anymore.
one more in September.
Okay.
Got one more to go in September.
Well, see you in September then. Okay. So much love. Peace out. Manchichi, Manchichi. Anything from you?
All good. Take care, everybody.
All right. Later.